What up, guys? Welcome to the Just Pearly Things YouTube channel, and welcome to the pregame. Hey! Before I start, do not forget to subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell. That way you're going to be notified of my daily videos. As you guys already know, if you have watched how many, Sarah?
If you have watched 2 or more of our videos, then we have what, Pearl?
Beef.
What do we have?
Beef.
Exactly.
So, guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also, guys, a couple announcements before we start the show. The first thing we're going to talk about is that we have 2 clips channels, Just Pearly Clips and Pearl Daily. Make sure you go subscribe to both. Also, guys, we have 4 membership tiers. The first will allow you to be a part of our live chat tonight. The second tier, you get to see our behind-the-scenes vlogs and our Discord. If you want to see me freestyle rap, sign up for the second tier. Third tier, you get to connect with me on social media. And fourth tier, you get a one-on-one call with me once a month. Do you want to know how to get 1 million subscribers in a year? Sign up for that call. Also, guys, they took away my Instagram, so go follow that, Just Pearly Things 1. They also took away my 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th TikTok. So go follow me on TikTok, Just Pearlythings.5. We're on Rumble now, so we have a couple interviews we did with Nick Fuentes that couldn't be put on YouTube, so make sure you go subscribe, or what do you say, follow on Rumble. Go subscribe to Wife School. We are dropping an episode with Melanie King this month. She is going to be helping me, fix my fashion problems. So Melanie's going to help me with that. Also, guys, we are doing a meetup this Sunday, 5:30 at Flatiron Square in London Bridge. We are bringing security, so no weird stuff. But yeah, we are doing a meetup in Flatiron Square and London Bridge. So if you're in London and you want to come meet us, go to that. Also, guys, we are a network. So this is the JPT network, and we do have 2 talents. So make sure you go subscribe to King Richie's channel. He does live shows on the days that I'm not doing live shows. And Auntie Jenny's, she does a podcast on Monday and Saturday. She was the woman that was on the Andrew Tate. The viral Andrew Tate interview that was just, spitting facts. So make sure you go subscribe to her channel as well. We also have Just Pearly Animations, which is an animation channel. And also we have 1,000 likes and we will open up the chat. So if you want the chat to open up to everyone, make sure you like the video. And finally, we have a couple special guests on the panel that have traveled all the way from America to be on the panel. So let's give them a round of applause. Welcome, Melanie King, Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews. Welcome to the show. Feel free to introduce yourself.
Sure. MTR, much more affectionately known as Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews. Just happy to be here. It's been a long time coming. We did content not too long ago, so I'm happy to finally come down to London and we can have a conversation. So shout out to everybody.
Also, I forgot to say this. You say your name, your age, your relationship status, and a fun fact.
Okay. Name, MTR, age, I am 37. Relationship status, I am single.
For the streets.
And who said that?
He's
already?
Streeting.
He's streeting is his relationship
Hey,
status.
why not though? Hey, listen, I built my value. I can street now all I want. Say something about it. All right? Yeah. And fun fact, I do YouTube full time. I think that's a fun fact for a lot of people. A lot of people, I like to snowboard, I like to ski, I like to do weird things. You know what I mean? So
You like to do things that aren't necessarily black.
There it is. Okay. Yeah, I step outside of that and just do whatever the hell I want.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, I'm Melanie King. I'm on YouTube. I'm 41. My relationship status is looking for a husband. And what else am I supposed to say?
Your name, your age, your relationship status, and a fun fact. Also, tell them your channel,
Melanie King. You can check me out on Melanie King. And a fun fact about me is, what's a fun fact? Like, I don't know. Like, just, what's a fun fact?
Whatever you factually do.
You want to do
For fun?
You want to do the motivational speaking stuff.
Yes. I'm moving more into motivational speaking, and I'm so proud of Pearl. That's a fun fact. I'm very happy to be here, and and he's for the street. That's a fun fact.
Oh no, you're not gonna. Okay, we're gonna talk about it.
Also, welcome back, Sarah. It's been a minute.
It's been a minute. I'm back. Don't worry, folks. I'm back. I know I've seen people asking for me back on the show. I've been going through some stuff, helping family out, but we're back. We're here. And if you guys want to know now, I am 41. I am not I am not for the streets anymore. Okay, I'm now in a relationship. I'm in a relationship now.
Come back to the streets, my brother.
No, don't listen to him. Don't listen to him.
And a fun fact is me is that I play golf.
Okay.
Boom.
Also, guys, Maggie also came all the way from America. She did a wife school episode with me this week where you taught me how to throw it down in the kitchen.
Absolutely. You did a great job, Pearl.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. So I'm Maggie, the substitute teacher. I also have a YouTube channel. I am 47, amicably divorced in a long-term relationship. And a fun fact is I make up silly songs while I'm cooking.
Nice.
Are we going to see that on your channel?
Absolutely.
I'm Camille Shante. I'm 21 next month. A fun fact about me is that I'm bilingual. I speak English and Portuguese.
Oh, that is cool.
She has like the best accent ever. Can we just say that's a fun fact too?
Relationship status? Such an American
I'm
thing
in a
to say.
relationship, yeah.
Oh, boo. That's what the guy said. Boo.
Go ahead.
I'm Lauren. I am 33. And what was the next thing? Sorry.
Your name, age, relationship status, and a fun fact.
All right. I am dating. And a fun fact is I am a digital nomad business attorney.
Oh. So you don't live anywhere? That's what that means, right? A digital nomad?
It means you travel around and you have different, like go from. Yeah.
Cool. That's so fun.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I'm Chan Robson, 25, soon to be YouTuber at Chan Talks. 7-year happy relationship with Mrs. because saying girlfriend somewhat isn't grown up. And we actually run a clothing business together. Fun fact.
Cool. Also, guys, one announcement I forgot to say at the start of the show. We have a Google form if you want to be on our email list. We're going to announce meetups, and also we may be doing a red pill boxing match.
Oh, gosh.
Red pill, blue pill, conservatives versus liberals. You know, as much as the right can say we dunk on feminism, we could literally fight feminism in front of you. So sign up for that email list. Okay.
I think mid boxing match, the liberal is going to identify as a woman.
Wait, are the girls going to box each other? I'll fight.
You'll fight?
I'll fight.
Who do you want to fight? Challenge him.
I would say I want to fight you, but like we were like on the same side. So like, I don't know who to fight. Who should I fight? Who's your enemy? Who's your op?
Esther.
Okay, I'm gonna fight Esther. Boo! Right now.
Bring the smoke.
Let's go, boo. Let's go. What you want?
Oh, my goodness.
Do you know who Esther is?
Crazy.
I don't care who Esther is. Does she know who I am? Is the question.
Okay, so today's topic is: are modern women to blame for relationships today? Whose fault is the dating market today? So before we get too deep into that, I would like for you guys to define a word that we hear so much about. I'd like for you guys to define accountability. Go here, around, in the second row.
Accountability is being ultimately responsible for all of your actions, whether it be positive or negative.
Yeah, I would say it is accountability, and then I think it's also owning it to a level where you're fixing it. Like you can take accountability or know that you've done wrong, but like not pointing to others and deflecting, but you're actually reflecting. Look in the mirror and say, "What can I do to change?" Because that's the only person you can change.
I think accountability is having introspection and self-reflection. I think it's about understanding who you are and taking responsibility for all of the decisions that you make in your life.
Yeah, I would say accountability is admitting what you did right and wrong, and then also accepting the consequences of both.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think taking accountability is very important in life and for self-development as well.
I think self-awareness, but also the ability to receive when other people have something to say about you. Because as self, we can be jaded to what we don't see about ourselves, but we don't want to hear what other people have to say about us. And that, honestly, is how we coexist with other people. And we need to be accountable for how others receive us so that we can properly coexist.
I think accountability is being honest with yourself, and that once you admit you're at fault, you can grow from that. I think that's the most important thing.
So, who takes more accountability, men or women?
Men.
Men.
Yeah.
Men.
What? You're shaking your head.
I think women,
Poor
you
girl.
know, we easily say sorry. Men don't say sorry as much as women, so definitely women.
But men say sorry and then continue to fix it, whereas women kind of say sorry and then continue to make the same mistake.
I think women rarely say sorry
I don't think
in a
I've ever.
relationship.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Across the board, I've never. Most men, one of their biggest gripes is that women, they will always move the goalposts. Like if they're wrong, then they will kind of counterpoint on how how you caused it. Like even if they cheat, well, you weren't emotionally available, so it's your fault. No matter what happens, there's an excuse. I rarely hear a woman say, "I'm sorry, honey, I did wrong. I'm going to work on it. You'll never see me do this again. Please forgive me."
Well, I think that's
True,
exactly
Women are
not
never
taking
wrong.
accountability.
No, we don't
Girl,
do wrong.
girl.
No, not in all
You got the right one
situations.
today, boo.
No, not
You
in
got
all
the right one
situations.
today.
It's time to
with
get
that.
active.
I think
Look, did you feel
Listen,
me?
I have a point real quick.
Okay, what were you going to say?
Not in all situations, but I do think women hold their hands up more than men. Men gaslight. That's the thing. There's accountability in gaslighting.
So I think that there's a difference within our society. I think that women have the privilege in our modern day society today to not be held accountable. I did a story not too long ago, about a year or so ago, just popped into my head, where a young lady went down to NBA All-Star Weekend with not enough money to get back home. She then goes on GoFundMe in order to get money in order to go back home. Men cannot do that.
Right.
Men do not have that type of reach and or access to get free money sent to them if they make a boo-boo.
I don't think so. I think that men...
So society in general, just last quick point, society in general has cushions put in place for women more often than men. That's why most homeless people in America are men. It's like 90 to 10%.
90%, yeah.
I think when you say that, if you go on the modern day TikToks and whatever, right, you'll find videos of women saying, "Oh, how to apologize to your man? Just scoot up to him naked with your ass out." Right. And that shows a lot of non-accountability. That shows when you say that, okay, women are more accountable, it's like, no, that's how they apologize. They think, okay, if we have sex, then everything's fine. And so, yeah, I think women don't hold themselves accountable a lot. I think women have a hard time having that introspection. I think if you do, they try to attack people more so than actually accept that.
I think in the time, though, we live in a time where women don't really need to be accountable in a way that men are always running around after them, which I think needs to stop. And that's why that they never have to really hold their hands up and say, look, I'm sorry what I've done wrong. I'll try to fix this, because before it becomes an actual issue, the man's already there trying to fix what they've done.
Listen,
This is so interesting to me, because I feel like in America, this is not the stance, right? I feel like the men that I've come across in the dating spectrum, they are very passive. They are not quick to apologize. They are very gaslighting. They don't accept accountability. And to your point about a man not being able to go to Vegas, get stuck, and not make his way back, men these days, because they're in the streets doing whatever, have accumulated a bunch of women that care for them. You can paint her a sob story and she's going to send you $100 because she's caring and wants to support you, right? So I think it's a balance of each depending on the circumstances and the person. But I definitely think women can be accountable. And from my circle and my experiences are more accountable in this generation of men who don't accept accountability, they apologize by actions, right? They just show up. They won't accept accountability for what they did. Specifically, a blanket apology is not an apology if you are not owning, right? That's the definition of lack of accountability. If you, I'm just sorry. But what are we sorry for? What are we making improvements on, right?
So I have a question for you. What was the last thing that you apologized for? What was the last thing you took accountability for?
Bad communication.
Bad communication.
Yep.
Okay, what you had something to say?
I think maybe sometimes when I lose my anger, sometimes I'll blame it on other things. I think the last thing I took accountability for is when I go, no, do you know what? I overreacted with that and I shouldn't have reacted in that way, so I apologise for that.
Can we clarify that accountability is not the same as an apology?
Right.
Because
Very true.
accountability means that there is a consequence after the action. So either that means, okay, you did that, and because of that, this is the consequence. And I believe that is what men have to deal with. I think a lot of times women think just by saying, I'm sorry, I'm accountable. That is not the same thing.
Absolutely.
Listen, the amount of
She's
times
free.
that I'm in dating relationships with different women and, Listen, they just want to just complain about the problem. I want to fix the problem.
Correct.
I don't want to continue to listen to you just talk about what happened with you and Marianne in the office, right? If you come to me with an issue, let's talk about solutions, all right? Because you can't just waste my time like that at the end of the day. Let's talk about solutions. But I find as though a lot of women don't communicate in solutions. So when we talk about accountability, the consequences for that is to solution. If men in general are not accountable, they will not be successful. If women in general are not accountable, they can still be the wife to a CEO.
And
or they
also,
can go on OnlyFans.
Using that analogy, that same woman will complain to you about, what happened at work. You will say as a man, okay, cool, what are we going to do about it? What are we doing about it?
How are we going to fix this?
How are we going to fix this? She will say, oh, I just wanted to vent. And then the next week or the next month, she'll be complaining to you about the same thing. So it's like, okay, but how do you hold yourself accountable? Do you want to face this woman or whoever you have a problem with? Do you want to get it out into the air? Do you want to help the situation? No, they just want to vent. So, yeah, women talk a lot, but they don't do a lot.
When somebody commits a crime, do we blame the criminal or do we blame society?
It depends on the gender.
50-50.
I think it's both.
Both.
I think good men can become bad. Where usually when you see men that have turned bad, I think they always started out as good men, but being around certain people in society can change them and twist them for them.
So you guys think it's 50-50?
I wouldn't say 50-50.
Yeah, say by default.
So if you steal something,
I don't believe
if you
it's
steal
50-50. It's not 50-50.
If I go down the street and I steal something, is it my fault or society?
No, it's your fault. It's your fault.
If-
It's nothing to do with society. Like if we want to blame the system, then that's the crux of no accountability.
Right.
Like if you want to just blame, well, my childhood, my upbringing, I didn't have this, I didn't have that. The same person grew up in the same circumstances as you, and they made other choices.
Right.
So we have to that's not accountability. If it's always somebody else, who caused it because you were raised a certain way. I can show you the example of somebody raised in a worse circumstances who made better choices than you. So is it really society? If I can point to one person who made a better choice, if I can point to one person who made a better choice, then your excuse is gone.
But there's a moral story in that. So for instance, if you look at people like Robin Hood, right? Robin Hood was born into a poor society. Right, and what he chose to do was to rob from the rich and give to the poor, right? So was he wrong?
So I have a question. So if a guy cheats, can he blame society?
No,
Absolutely not.
no, he has no discipline with his tool.
Why can't he just blame hookup culture by that logic?
No, just
If
leave.
you wanna hook up,
Just
yeah,
leave.
be single.
Just leave.
It
I don't
depends on your
understand that.
status.
But it also
Why cheat? Just leave.
But I think it also depends on your end goal. So, like I said, with Robin Hood, with the Robin Hood analogy, he robbed from the rich, gave to the poor to try and change society.
Wait, so women were they
No,
so,
we're just- well, no,
so this woman
no,
is
we're just
getting a
talking
lot
about-
of
we're
his
just
tool, and these poor women out here aren't getting enough D.
I'm not
so he's
talking-
giving charity D
I'm not
to
talking
the
about
streets.
the D. I'm talking about
Because that's essentially
morals.
what your example is.
No, I'm just talking about morally. It depends on. That's why I said it depends. I never said it's 50-50. I said it could also be the society. Could also be the individual. I'm just saying. I would say it would depend on what you want from society. So people if you're trying to change society, for instance, look at Andrew Tate. He's trying to change society, right? But he's deemed as wrong. That's why he's been jailed.
Because people don't like to hear the
Right, because
truth.
people don't like to hear the
But
truth.
he's done
So is
things
he-
wrong
so
as
is-
well if
yeah, but is he
we're
wrong?
honest. But he's done things right. I will say there are moves he's made that people are on his side will say, listen, you self-snitched. Like you should have kept it quiet. There's moves that he needs to make
we're not talking
different.
about that. We're talking about whether he's.
Is that society's fault if you self-snitch?
Is he wrong? And for what he's trying to do, is he
If
wrong?
you self-snitch, you have to learn how to move. We're in the world we're in. And I'm not saying he's right or wrong. What I'm saying is...
No, but that's what we're talking about.
But I'm saying is, but he has to also, does Andrew Tate have to take accountability if he self-snitches?
Well, but if you can sing about something in a song or talk about something on social media without it technically being self-snitching, they have to bring evidence that you did those crimes.
Exactly. They have no
And-
evidence
yeah.
against him. So I agree with you. They have no evidence, so they need to let that go. Their feelings are hurt.
So that's why I said society, because society could deem somebody wrong because they're the ones in the wrong. So if I have
But
power
my
over
original
you,
question was about the stealer. So if I go down and steal, is it my fault or society?
It's your fault.
Your fault.
But let's just think if you're raised in poverty, you have no money, you're in a circumstance where you have no food, and you're raised in and you're living. Let's say you're a kid and you have no money, you have no food, you're dependent on parents who are on drugs, and your baby sister needs to eat. Your mother's on crack. Like, there are nuances in this where you have to blame a portion of society that this child has failed because we've let them slip through the system.
I disagree.
And so,
I disagree.
but how would
highly
that child
disagree.
eat? How do they eat? Tell
That's
me
what
the
I meant by
solutions.
50-50.
If their parents are on crack, their baby sister or their little brothers and sisters are hungry, they can't get a job. They're 13. I personally know of people like this, kids in homeless shelters. This is their situation.
Maggie, what were you gonna-
Understood, but wrong is still wrong. There may be reasons why this kid is stealing, but we still have to be able to say wrong is wrong. And as a parent, I mean, you hear it even in parenting advice. You know, they tell you, oh, the child is not bad. They just made bad decisions. Where I grew up in an era where if you were a fool, they called you a fool.
Yeah.
And I think we need to bring some of that back because it breeds this thing, well, it's not my fault. Sometimes it just has to sit on you and you just have to realize I did that and it was wrong.
so is that a moral question then? Like when you say wrong is wrong, because who decides what is wrong and what is right?
But then the question is, well, if you are, let's say you're a teenager or you're young, your mother's on crack. There's a recent story in the U.S. where a mother left her two children. Her 14-year-old ran away, her 12-year-old, and she has a 3-year-old, all three different baby daddies. She left him alone in Texas and Houston for 2 months through Thanksgiving. She told them, if you tell anybody that I'm leaving, that they're going to take your little 3-year-old brother away and you'll never see him again, and threatened her. So she was scared to tell anybody what was going on. Her mother was missing for 2 months, or she was running the streets in another state. She was left in the care. She never enrolled these children into school, the oldest one. So she used to have to lie to her father, who was working in another state, because of course she got custody of all the kids. Okay. So then because she was threatened, because the mother said, I'll never love you or see you, you'll never see your siblings again. This child had to lie to her father and say, can you please get groceries? Mom is working. He would call the mother and say, yeah, I'm working. Can you please send groceries or food? I'm struggling. But she couldn't tell the truth because she was scared. If she didn't have food, didn't have the father who would send the groceries or food to the house, and she had to go steal, are we going to say, little 12-year-old, you are now accountable because your mother's for the streets and abandon you and your little sibling, and now you need consequences?
I
think you can have empathy for a situation, but the whole idea is wrong is wrong.
Exactly.
I mean,
But you're 12 and your mom leaves you with a 3-year-old?
And you could say, this is why I did that wrong thing.
Exactly.
And like, this is my reason for it, but wrong is still wrong.
But can a 12-year-old
it doesn't become right just because something happened.
Exactly. It doesn't matter. Well,
That's tough for me, that one. That's a tough.
I think
if
it's
I'm
odd
honest.
if we
That's
use
tough.
children.
So
in that case.
for instance, if I got up and slapped you in your face right now, am I wrong?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
All right. Oh, yeah. If you slap me back, are you wrong?
Yes.
No.
No,
But remember, you made the decision to slap me.
no, because one's in self-defense.
All right, fair enough.
So
No, if
from
he's,
a legal
but is
standpoint,
it
right?
self-defense?
I'm checking.
If he just slaps you once and then he just stands there and there's no defense needed, he just slapped you.
It's still self-defense,
I
though,
don't know if
right?
He's gonna slap me
But
again.
what if he
did it once? He might do it again.
What if he slaps you and then goes sits back down? And
It's still assault, right? It's still assault.
He could stand up and do it again.
But what if he doesn't? What if like he's held back? Should you be able to?
How would he be held?
Guys, how did we get here
Because
from
I
our
think-
women held accountable as society? I feel like we've gone on a path.
No, I'm just saying this
I
for some
won't lie. I
moral.
think you've gone in a path.
I
I think you
Take accountability,
These
Mel.
examples are a little
Take
extreme.
accountability.
Let's reel it in.
Your mind's like spaghetti.
It's all
right?
my fault.
It just,
Yes.
So
Everyone, it's my
Why
fault.
is it that when a man cheats, he's a cheater, but when a woman cheats, she's not satisfied in the relationship?
Because women cheat emotionally and men cheat because there's a hole in the wall. Right? That's why men cheat.
Look,
Men,
man.
Sounds like an excuse to me.
No, I'm just saying. Listen. It's a corn category, right? It's called glory holes. You see men putting their things in. They don't care who's on the other side. They're just trying to get their rocks off, right? Men can do that. Men don't care, right? Women actually, for a woman to cheat on a man, she has to be somewhat emotionally involved.
no,
or
the
tied,
question's backwards.
Yeah,
or tied to that guy.
The
But
question's backwards.
men can do it without having any emotional connection
attachment,
whatsoever. Yeah.
No, but the question was different, though.
Yeah,
Go
that's
on.
not what I asked.
No, but you said why?
No, I said why does society label the man a cheater but a woman's not satisfied in the relationship? So why is there an excuse for the woman but there's not an excuse for the man?
Because it's emotional.
Because it's an accountability issue.
Agreed.
It's accountability issue.
For sure.
Listen, at the end of the day, one of the things that we open up with is that there's systems put in place for whatever reason to continue to pander to the modern woman. And I think it's all just kind of just based off of money. I think that if you want to sell ad placements to the component of the population that makes 80% of the household purchasing decisions, you're going to do so in a way to try to make them feel good and nice inside and avoid all accountability. At the end of the day, accountability doesn't feel good. Having to fix problems doesn't feel good. It's time intensive, and it brings you a dose of reality of the things that you have to do to over encumber that, right? Women don't want to do all that shit. They just want to feel good about themselves and let it be the man's issue or the man's problem. Like, again, they're not focused on solutions generally.
But that's the thing as well. Say as a man, you need to take accountability for something and say you seem upset or distraught about it.
There is nothing more disgusting than a dude who doesn't take accountability.
Exactly. But
it's nasty.
But
Get away from me. I don't even want guy friends who don't take accountability. Get away from me.
But me personally, as a man, who do you go to talk to about it? Because personally, I don't have anyone. I don't know about the other men, but I know...
You don't have mentors?
I have people I think of mentors, but not people that I would go to emotionally to talk about my problems. As a man, you sit there and deal with them yourself. But I know all women mates and my missus mates and so on, where if they're in trouble, something went wrong, whatever, and they was like, oh my God, I need to talk to someone about this.
Where's your
5,
father?
10, 15... Oh, my father's alive, he's all right, yeah.
Why can't you go to your father?
I don't know, we have this kind of
the
strange
relationship.
understanding. We have a great relationship. He's my role model in some ways, but he has his own problems that I don't want to. So you don't want to go and bother someone else with your problems.
So then is it an issue?
No,
with you then?
no. My number one is my pops. If things are right, like my pops, he's my example of what to be a man in modern day society today is, especially being a black man in America. He is my example. And I make sure that big decisions that are within my life of things that I may not know the answers to, and I consider myself a genuinely, sometimes, most of the times, a wise guy, but for things that, I just can't quite figure out, I make sure that I go to him. Now, I know at the same time, there's a lot of young men out there that don't have that father figure. And actually, I think that's a large degree and a component as to why channels like mine have blown up is because there's a lot of young men out there that might have been raised in a single parent household that have questions regarding things that are happening to themselves within their lives that they don't quite have the answer to. So I'm actually surprised to hear that your father is as active what he is, but you don't go to him.
Mate, it might be different between England and America, but from over here where I'm from in Southampton, pretty much every guy that I know would say the same as me. So maybe it's I don't know, a difference there.
Do you think are you saying that culturally men are taught not to say anything then?
Growing up in schools, yeah, I think it was always man up, get on and do this, sort this out. And I think that's the struggle men go through. Men can actually talk about it.
That's what it is. What you guys don't understand is that women relate emotionally. Like, we can empathize. And so when a woman goes through something or she cheats, we feel this, we try to like bring empathy to what's going on with her. Men are more logical in their thinking and deductive reasoning. This goes into biology and how men's brains are wired. So logically, women will always try to, there's confirmation bias as well because there are other women. So like we wouldn't give an excuse to a woman who sleeps with our husband or our man. And like we got a problem with that. But if it's our girlfriend, someone we like, or someone in the sisterhood, there's this kind of like this camaraderie. Men do it as well. Men feel a camaraderie for each other. So, but I will say overall, men are much more, like men are made to discipline. Men are made, they're not going to get into the emotions of like my father, I don't care what you felt. What did you do? Like quit the crying, quit the tears. I get it. You feel this way, but you have real world consequences. And I think most women are either treated like princesses by their fathers or they don't have accountability growing up. They don't know what it looks like. And this is why they're offended by it. And if something happens to another woman, we want to be understanding because we automatically, empathy puts us in their shoes. Like we could see how they feel because we may have felt a certain way, even if we've never done that action, but it doesn't excuse it away. They still need to be held accountable. But that's why so many women buck against conversations like this, because it's like, how dare you say something? It's all these men. And men and women cheat at almost the same rate. But yet it's always men.
Well, yeah,
Women cheat more,
but I
actually.
think,
Maggie, I wanted to, what were you shaking your head at?
Yeah, I mean, you said a few things there, Melanie. Some I agree with. I think we ended up where we agreed, but I think ultimately men have the burden of duty and honor put on them that women don't. And so to answer your question as to why a man would be labeled a cheater is because you're supposed to do right, where a woman is coddled and kind of given, well, the there, which I don't agree with. We can still empathize and still call it wrong. For example, back to the other point, if I'm speeding through a traffic light because my son is in an accident, I'm trying to get to the hospital, I go through a red light, it's still wrong. I may explain the reason why, but if I have to pay a ticket for it, I pay a ticket for it. Where we are is like, oh, I understand, go ahead and go scot-free. So that's what I wanted to say.
What do you think of this conversation?
I think I don't really know.
No.
No.
What were you gonna say?
Can I? Yeah, I was gonna say a bunch of different things, but one of the things that you said is kind of the empathy of women and why you guys kind of communicate like that. And I often think like, if I think of like the entrance of like a therapist is, I would say a lot more beneficial to most modern women than they are to modern men. Depending upon the type of therapist that you go to, I think men should go to male therapists. But the thing is like the downfall of a lot of modern women today, outside of the simps, the white knights, is other modern women that are unwilling to hold them accountable. And they'll get into these echo chamber circles and just kumbaya around the totally incorrect thing. And that's why, right, like I suggest, and Kevin used to do it as well too, suggest therapy to a lot of modern women because they can get a third-party arbitrator to understand the situation and be like,
do you know one of the
I hate to be the bearer of the bad news, however,
do you know
what's wrong?
You know one of the reasons why they do that, MTO? Competition. Women see each other as competition. Yeah. Women never give each other the keys to the game. Okay, so when older women get older, right, they never give younger women the game. Yeah. Because the older women are actually vying for the same types of men that the younger women are vying for, right? And so you never ever tell your opponent the key to the game. You can console them. Oh, my baby, you're so bad. That's that what you done? Oh my God, amazing. But the same types of men that the older women want is the same types of men that the younger women want. So the older women are never going to give you the game because they see you as competition.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier. Pearl and I were talking about that earlier. I wanted to come back to you, baby, because you aren't talking much. Do you have older women in your life that hold you accountable?
Well, I actually hold myself accountable.
No. No one can hold you. You can't hold yourself accountable because we're our own. Like, if you don't have outside voice, we just see ourselves how we see ourselves. Accountability comes from someone saying, listen, accountability hurts. We don't hurt ourselves. We don't tell ourselves the things that we need to hear. You're dating a guy, you like him, and an older woman say, I see this is going on. I see, like, this guy is not, that you can trust and know that she's not competing with you. Do you have an older woman in your life?
Yeah, definitely. Some of my mum's friends, when I was a bit more open with my relationship, they would always like throw things at me like, oh, if he does this, oh, he's probably cheating, things like that. And it's just, I could tell, they were in competition and they just didn't want me to be happy. So definitely.
Really? Well, tell it. Like, so they actually tried to put your relationship and your man down. Did you feel like they were trying to, their negativity or their negative experiences, they were trying to put on you and him?
Extremely negative. It would just always be something. And then now I'm very, very private with my relationship and just private with my life. But like, they've never met him. So it's like, how do you have so much to say? So.
Because you're the younger version.
Do you have anybody, a woman, an older woman who says, I love you, the only thing I want is the best for you? They're not in competition. They're not trying to put negativity. They want to hear what you have to say. They want to meet him, love on him, and actually get the real thing. Do you have any woman in your life like that that's older?
No.
Okay. So this is a failure, Maggie, what we talked about just on her podcast we did yesterday. Older women, we have failed younger women like her. I'm 41. You're about to turn 21.
Yeah, I think
like we're a
it's
20-year
parents
difference.
as well, like mothers as well. I sometimes feel like mothers are in competition with their daughters.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We just talked about, do you feel as though, and I don't want to put your mother on the spot or anything, you can talk in general, but do you find like with your friends or your experience that the moms they put like a competition. They don't want you to win because
Definitely.
they failed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
And they will talk you into failure.
Right.
Don't worry about it. They will console you though, right? But they'll talk you into failure, and then once you fail, they'll be like, "Oh, it's okay, baby." And like I said, if in my personal point of view, it's for competition about men, because the same man that is going for the 21-year-old that will sleep 21-year-old, he will sleep with you too, Melanie, right?
And
he will sleep with you too.
and misery loves company.
Yeah.
It's like when you fail a test. What's the best feeling in the world when you turn
Someone
to
else
someone
failed.
and they're like, "I failed too." But if you're the only one in the class that failed, or
Yeah,
the
that
only
feels
one
worse.
in your circle that failed, I actually noticed it on TikTok. Like, it would there was a group of like moms, and they did like the mom content, and then one gets divorced, and the other gets divorced, and the other gets divorced. It's like the whole damn friend group, and it's just like misery really loves company. They don't want to be alone in their bad decisions.
Single women keep single women single, right?
Right. If the older women have not kept their own relationship together, then it's really hard to wish that blessing on someone else. So I think you have to be very selective and find someone that is in a relationship that you actually admire and they're secure in that relationship. I think if you're trying to get advice from older single women, that's where it can really go left.
But sometimes married women as well. Because how many
Right.
married women do we know wish they could be back in the streets?
Right.
They're
That's why I said
miserable in their
women-
marriage. I know so many who are just like, they see the glamour of being flown to Dubai, and they don't know they're getting flown. These single women getting flown to Dubai because they're laying down with a camel.
You're getting flown and blown.
No. They're flown and blown. That is what is going on. They're actually selling, but we don't, because what happens is younger guys that you may be, what's the oldest guy you've dated?
Well, this is my second boyfriend, and he's 23. No,
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's not that much older.
Yeah.
But that same 23-year-old will sleep with and go after someone my age.
You holler at you.
Is he serious? This happens every day. But I say to myself, like, so what happens is these older women will feel like, okay, well, that little 20-something-year-old, she can't do nothing for you, boo. Let's come over here and I'm going to do this. I'm going to put it on you. She's not grown. She's immature. This is how these older women are thinking, these cougars. And so they see you as competition instead of loving on you and wanting you to win.
Or they'll use shaming language, like calling the dude a pedo, when it's just like, no, he just likes younger women.
Yeah, but when they
Or
were
he's
younger,
creepy, or he's creepy.
I don't know a single older woman who, when she was younger, did not date an older guy. But once they get older, it's like, oh, well, I was naive then, I didn't know, and all this other stuff. So, like, yeah, I dated an older guy, but it really was abusive. And I'm just thinking to myself, were you really abused dating an older guy?
No,
you weren't.
Financial abuse. You want to give me his credit card.
Right. They feel that way. And that's why I wanted to talk to her, because I said, as a younger woman, like, you know, this is our whole conversation, Maggie. We were talking about this yesterday about older women are competing for the same men. They don't realize that the older women think, because these men will, your boyfriend, I'm not saying he is, but your boyfriend will sleep with a woman who's older. And so they think they're in competition with you and they have to prove this, but they should have been out the game a long time ago.
Exactly.
You can see it in the TikTok videos, right? When you see like mother and daughters, right? And the mother looks quite young and the daughter
she's
looks
trying to
quite
do
young.
the TikTok
And they're all dancing
dance.
together. I'm like,
Dancing together.
Yes.
that's your competition right there. And it's like the mother's trying to keep up with her, but on the flip side, men like MTR, men like myself, right? We may be older. We're trying to give younger men the game. We're trying to say, look, young guys, this is what you do. This is what you don't do, right? Older guys, what I've realized is older guys don't mind giving younger guys a game. They don't mind telling them where they went wrong. Like, I don't mind telling a younger guy where I went wrong. Do you know what I mean?
Well, and generally, dudes, if you're in competition with another dude, usually it's more brute strength, in competition physically, or downright to fighting status, financials. Generally, women compete utilizing manipulation, innuendo, reputation destruction, not giving you the keys to whatever it is that you're trying to do, right? Because women don't generally fight just based off of like physical prowess, but there's other things that they do.
Wonder, right? Women aren't holding each other accountable, but it also sounds like we aren't holding men accountable, right? That they are able to go and do these things with multiple women and attract to that, right? So why is that our standard?
I have a question. So are you aware that one in 3 men are either virgins or haven't had sex in the past year?
Yes, given the weight that women date and things like that. Yep.
What % of men do you think are sexually active and sleeping with multiple women?
I think it's like 30 or 40% or
I'd
something
say
like that.
10.
It's
way
like
less.
it's 5 to 10%.
Yeah.
So it's like you're gonna put 5 to 10% of men's decisions on all of men, when
Amen.
really it's like 80% of women that are sleeping with them.
Amen. That's it.
So I'm saying
I don't
women
know.
need to take the accountability, right?
And so it's who's it more on?
Women, for sure. That's what I was posing, that women aren't holding women accountable, but the men, the 5 to 10% of men that are doing that, they're doing it with all of the 80, 10%, and we aren't holding them accountable either,
but
right?
Why
women-
should they be? Because the women are throwing themselves at them.
Right.
Like Drake. Like, wait, these girls are waiting
Well,
for
back to
him.
the question. Wrong
listen,
is wrong,
and-
right? So
no,
if
wait,
we're
hold up.
holding
No,
one party accountable, we need to hold the other people
Listen,
accountable
but,
too.
But how are you? Listen, you can't hold men wrong for developing themselves to be as best as what they positively and ultimately can be, and then they get all of this coochie thrown at them.
Okay,
Like,
baby
difference
K.
is
Baby KS
the
over
concept,
here.
the concept of groupie is a strictly female term. It's not on the flip side, right? So, like, I think, like, listen, at the end of the day, there's a whole media engine put into place to hold men accountable. I don't want no scrubs. Scrub is a guy. Can't get no love from me. Hanging on the passenger side of my best friend's mind, trying to holler at me. Come on. Come on. And on top of that, on the flip side, they got the women singing about being Miss Independent. I don't cook. I don't clean.
Right.
All of these things that don't hold them accountable for being a good marriageable wife. 'Cause that's my thing. I get these questions all
the
day.
The same women, though, are actually wives or want to be wives, but they're telling us, like, I don't cook, I don't clean, I'm for the street. City girls.
Listen,
The city girls are
they
talking
want-
about we're independent, but then you're so desperate for a man, you're
They
getting
want
peed on.
the benefits of being modern and not the consequences
And
of being
worse.
modern. They want the benefits of being modern and the benefits of being conservative or traditional at the same damn time. While a whole media engine has been holding men accountable since TV was TV, since Love Connection was on the goddamn TV screen, and all up until today. The music, the TV, not YouTube, because we hold them accountable over here, and every other forms of media, the movies, the Disney, they've been holding guys accountable since the beginning of time. The talk shows, shout out to Steve Harvey, shout out to the Derek Jacksons. Y'all been holding guys accountable. Now we have platforms today where men can hold women accountable, and y'all get mad at us.
Who do you think's in control of
You're a
sex? Men or,
misogynist.
who do you think's in control of sex, men or women?
Oh, women.
So then wouldn't you say it's women's fault for giving out sex for free?
So let's not get this confused. I am 100% that women are not being held accountable at all, right? But there's a balancing factor. Why can that coexist? Yes, we aren't holding each other accountable or things like that, but there's still a standard of men allowing that we aren't held accountable.
But it's
That's
not
the only
but-
thing that I'm
but-
saying.
but
That's the
listen,
only thing I'm
but
saying.
see, what we've already proven is that it's not the majority of men. It is a 5 to 10% that women are choosing to give their bodies to and lay down with. Do you know there are between 18 and 30? There are, I think the number's 3 times the number of men who are virgins than there are than women who are virgins. Women can run through body count and run through. I did a video where I talked about how I read women's body counts, like women anonymously, business women. These were not women; they were strippers and for the street. They actually gave their body count. There was a 29-year-old woman that had 150 plus, and she said, "I wish it was higher."
Oh my God.
And even women who had low body count, low numbers of men, they said it should be higher. They actually feel embarrassed, like I should be living little. And I used to feel there's no shame about it. If you ask the same men, unless they are certain looks, they have a certain amount of looks or money and status, they can't get the average woman. If all of us women went outside right now and was just like, listen, come back to the crib, let's go to the car, let's go to the alley, I'm gonna bust it down for you.
It would happen
I'm gonna
straight
give it to you.
away.
We can rack up the whole city. We can rack up all of London in one night if
It's
we
a lot
chose
harder
to.
for men.
But a men, if they can go outside, even if they look good, even if they have the status, they still have a level of work. They maybe on a good night can maybe get 2 if they are just really, really, really.
I can get a whole club. You talking about?
Boy, stop.
God.
Women have sex with
Boy,
who they
stop.
want. Men have sex with
Boy,
who they
stop.
can.
And only one of them changes the outcome of their relationships in the future. I mean, I'm not going to say that it has no impact, but which one has significantly more? If a man sleeps with 100 women, can he settle down? I would argue still
Yeah,
probably.
we
Yeah,
don't.
for
But
sure.
if a
Women-
woman
yeah.
sleeps with 100 men, she can't.
Men care about quantity. Women care about quality of the women. So if I see, I'm like, that's your ex-girlfriend? That's who you slept with? Like, if she's like a bust down, or I know she's a known hoe, or the dude just slept with prostitutes, we would be upset as women. A man will care about the number of men that she has slept with. We care about the quality, because we're almost like, that's why if a man has other women around him who look good, other women around him that look good, or his girlfriend looks good, he's like pre-qualified. We're just like, oh, he's got a baddie. It incites like he's pre-qualified. Whereas we care about it. But if we see a good looking guy with like a girl that looks terrible, we're like, he's probably broke. He's probably this. I won't want him. A man doesn't care about that. All he cares about is quantity.
What were you going to say?
But to the point, right? It's 80% of women who are out here doing these things. It's 5 to 10% of men who are sleeping with them, but they are running through the 80% of women, and now they are disqualifying them from being good wives. So it first needs to start.
Their choice.
It first
the
needs
women
to
are opening
start.
their legs.
Open their legs.
The women hold them accountable.
That's women's
The
choice.
women are opening their legs. You just said
on, girl.
that women control sex.
girl.
How are the 80% of men just running through these women?
So
Are you
first,
saying it's not
the
consensual?
accountability needs to start with women and locking that down and not doing that, right? So then the 5 to 10% of men who are running have no place to go. Right? That is where the
But there's
paradigm
no
shifts.
accountability.
That's where it shifts
It's
at.
all the accountability, because all the women are sleeping with that 5 to 10%.
Yeah,
so we
stops
need
there.
women need the accountability. The 5 to 10%, so
It's
we're
a shared
no, I'm sorry. The majority of
No,
men do
that's
not
not
have
being
those
accountable.
options. That's not. Women, if 80% of women are choosing these 5 to 10%, ma'am, you have not you, sweetheart. I'm just
course
talking in
not.
general. No, when I say ma'am, I'm just talking. So I'm just saying, like, how are we going to blame men when it's 5 to 10% that's getting 80% of the women out here? It's us women. If 5 to 10% of women were choosing to sleep with those 5 to 10% men, let them go off and do their thing. But we have women in mass, the majority of women that are giving themselves to these low quality Tyrones, Pookies, and Ray Rays that don't care when there's good men that are right around you, but you don't want him because he's corny.
And only one influences the outcome of your relationship. Like the man sleeping with multiple women, it's not going to influence the outcome of his relationship, but it sure as hell is going to influence the outcome of hers for her future husband.
But
Absolutely.
we now live
So
in
that
a
makes
time
it okay,
where,
though?
But we live in a time where we can watch
It's
all
like-
of these TikTok videos with these street interviews, and the guys are asking girls about what have you done, what have you got to confess, and these girls are saying they've been ran through, they've had 5 guys in one night, and we've now got to the point. Yeah, we've got to the
I've heard
point.
it. Even more than that.
Do you believe that sex outside of marriage is wrong?
So yes, but
Yeah.
do you still partake? Yes, right. So in modern culture, it's relevant, right?
Then you're
But
blaming culture.
I'm not blaming culture. That's just
you're
that's the
saying
reality
no,
of it, right?
It's not,
That's a fact
because
that people are having sex.
Right, but that's yours as an individual. You have individual accountability. I don't care what culture is doing. I make a choice with my box. Culture is not going to give me STD.
Absolutely.
Culture is not going to make me. Culture is not going to take care of when I have I'm an unwed mother. Culture is not going to take care of those things. I am responsible for my body, my who I give my body to, who I have soul ties to. If you choose to spread your legs open in these streets, society did not make you do that. You made the choice to lay down with all of those men, and you can and putting it on that men need to take accountability. You chose to bust it open for that F boy or that Pookie.
Change
That
the
is
narrative.
your choice.
However, I'll say this.
Go off.
When your society tells you that something is okay, so what we've seen within the past 10 years is a spike in people that are calling themselves non-binary and trans, right? We've seen a spike in it. Why? Because the society has said it's okay to be that way.
That's still
right?
their choice.
Right. It is their choice. But I'm saying we have to understand that when society says something
It
is
has
okay,
an impact on it.
it has an impact on individuals. Like
That's just the reality.
because there's a reason why you don't allow your children to watch certain things on TV,
but-
right?
But you can't control society.
But society impacts you. You live in society every single day. It has to be.
But hang on, there's a reason why you don't allow your children to watch certain things on TV. There's a reason why you don't allow your children to go around certain people. Why? Because as much as you could teach your child and say, don't do this, that's wrong, right? Your child can still be influenced, right, by a certain
but
group
it's still
of people.
your choice, even as a child.
Right.
It's your choice who you surround yourself with. Like I remember being like a kid and thinking these
Me
girls were
too.
mad,
Right.
and thinking
Me
these girls
too.
were crazy. And it's like even as a child, you have some accountability for the friends you choose to surround yourself with.
But
Pearl,
where does accountability
Pearl,
come from? It comes from the influences. It comes from our society. And all I'm saying is we can't discredit
No,
the
No, it
impact that
doesn't.
society and
Accountability
influences
does not
gives
come
you.
from
No,
You can't
society.
do that.
No,
I think
no,
accountability.
I don't agree.
Accountability comes from yourself and the ability to take.
Where
like,
does
to
where is
take
that shaped from
ownership.
though?
But listen,
how do you
every,
know what
every
is
woman,
good or what
listen,
you should
listen,
what you
every
should
woman,
decide?
every woman that has laid down with the 5 to 10% man, there is another woman who was raised in similar circumstances or worse that made a different decision. So that's where your accountability is, because you can have all the excuses, society, everybody, all of this, but there is another person out there that made a different and a better choice. Just because you were born in that, then you have to say, why did they make a better choice and I chose to do this? So if one person in the world made a better choice than you, then you have to say society didn't influence them. Society didn't do this. Why am I so weak? Why am I so unaccountable that I want to blame everyone else? If one person has made a better choice than you, then you need to rise to the cream of the crop. But so many of us are at the bottom. We want to be like everybody else. We want to be regular. We want to be below average, and we don't strive for excellence in anything that we do.
Who creates society?
I think we're missing something.
The 1% of men do.
Who? No, I'm saying like who passes on culture in a family?
Exactly. And that's
Yeah,
the one thing that
that's
we're
missing. It
we're
is
talking
missing.
about the individual and we're talking about society. We have completely neglected the home and the family because I would argue that if an older woman had told this younger lady or any younger lady that this is how boys see you, if you do that, you would act differently if someone had told you that. I think men do a much better job of checking each other because men see themselves in younger men. Women see themselves as younger women. So a man...
Bars.
Gospel.
She's good.
You better teach.
Hey.
Sorry, continue.
A man looks at his life in phases. He knew he was a boy. He knew he was a young man. He knew he was, a bachelor. And then he's like, I'm ready to set it down. A woman doesn't do that. A woman still thinks, even though I'm 40 or 50 or whatever, I can still twerk like a little girl. I can still wear revealing clothing. I think there's something...
Sierra. Sorry, go on.
My goodness.
Savannah
She's
James.
talking
Let's
facts.
talk about Savannah James.
Wouldn't you guys agree that women pass on the culture in a family?
Yes.
But should they?
It depends on
Like women are
the
women
race.
Just women, Pearl.
What?
Yeah, I'm
just
like,
women?
but should they?
I would say men build societies. Women pass on the culture typically. And,
Yes, they
Yes.
do.
And so by that logic, if the culture's bad, whose fault is it?
The women.
And who's breaking up homes, men
You
or
said
women?
a whole word right there, Maggie.
And if we're growing up in a family that doesn't, in a society that doesn't value family, whose fault is it?
No, I think that's women. No, I
Women.
agree.
They're breaking up the home.
We actually done something on that, and I actually said if the woman's not right, because she's the first teacher of children, right? So if the woman's not right, the society's not going to be right. Because if you're the first teacher of the children, as women, you spend most of the time with the children. So if you are the one that is constantly and consistently around the children, then the child's not going to be right. And the childs are the ones that go out into society
That's
and
sorry.
do that.
I think I actually heard you say it, Pearl, before. That's the thing. In single mother homes, that's when kids do bad. You always need a father figure in the home to be able to coach and teach the child how to be disciplined and accountable in life.
There are some, though, in single mothers. We have these outliers like LeBron James, single mother, family, and even his wife, Savannah James. That's why I brought her up. If you saw a picture of Sierra, and you put a picture of Savannah James at the Oscars, Savannah James, every woman across the board, like people are talking about, that's my wedding dress. Like she's inspired me. She is gold. She is it. She was a single mother very young. She was raised by a single mother, LeBron James. So even if you were raised a single mother, poverty, all your circumstances, look at people who made different choices. If they made other choices, you have no excuse. If somebody else came out of your situation, and let's be honest right now, ladies and gentlemen, everything we're talking about right now is very lightweight and weak. If we look at history and what people have gone through in real struggle and what we call, hardship, and it's not my choice. You look at the society as a whole throughout, all of Europe, Africa, and everywhere. We are living in a time of absolute privilege. And so when we and the accountability that they had to take, it is just, even this conversation is spoiled, and it is privileged, and it is we don't know hard work. We don't know what it's like to really struggle. So we can even have the luxury of having these conversations like this. And it was life and death for a woman to lose her virginity to the streets. Okay, it was life and death. It means you would be you were actually sent to the brothels. Mm-hmm. If you aged out, because you did not marry at a certain age, you were sent to work in the brothel house.
And that's long changed.
Right. And so now it's OnlyFans. And so, and Instagram. So what we're saying is, even these conversations, we really, as a society now, don't know accountability. And if we really want to go there, but overall, I would say, absolutely, the onus is on the women to pass down the culture, teach the young women. Our young women are out of pocket, struggling, because the older women are for the streets, many of them. You have women who are in their 40s still being IG models, getting bussed down and flued out is what they call it, and just doing the most and looking like strippers. What we call even cute outfits today, sexy. This is what, I don't know, I don't say the word, but like women of, ladies of the night would wear in old times. And there's no accountability. You're 45 years old, ma'am, and you're dressing like your daughter doing TikTok and trying to show how thick you are because you want that same 30-year-old man. As your daughter can get, you can get the same man. He'll be in, let's say he's 33, you're 40, your daughter's 20, he's 30. You're trying to get that man because you're so lost and so consumed into yourself. You have nothing to teach, but old box.
But I think that's the reason why men are supposed to be the ones leading society.
Exactly.
Right? And I think that's the reason why, because we, like I said, discussed earlier on, women are not going to give younger women the keys to the game. They're just not going to do it. It's competition. They're not going to do it. Sitting around asking and expecting them to do it, you'll be waiting a long time for them to do that, right? So it's for men to lead society. So when you talk about society, but society's been fragmented and it's been broken, so now men can be women and women can be men, and the whole thing's topsy-turvy and upside down. And so the reason for society being this way is because men aren't allowed to lead. Men like TMR, men like myself, we get called misogynistic. Do you know what I mean? When we try to lead, we get called all types of, if you're broke, then say so. If you're dusty, then say so. If you're gay, then say so. We get shamed for trying to be leaders. Do you get what I'm saying? So the society, going back to who leads society, I would say there's a part of, like I said, those 1% of men, whoever they are, those 1%, the same people that put Andrew Tate in jail, those men are the ones that are trying to cultivate society and show people that if you step out of line, like an Andrew Tate, then they'll try and put you back in check.
Modern women hate accountability so much that they cheered when Kevin Samuels passed away. That's how much that they hate accountability, by and large. But here's the thing, is that because they are the product of the society that they are raised in, and a lot of them are just hive minds, then I can't really be mad at them at the end of the day. Because if you've been lied to consistently throughout your life, or fed the propaganda that sells a product to you, and you believe that because it benefits you, then can I really be mad at you that you fed into the propaganda? There's examples all throughout history where propaganda has led to some of the most major calamities throughout our history and our civilization, because people just believed in something unwittingly and unknowingly without questioning it.
But do you guys think that the phrase is... Actually, go ahead, Maggie. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, and to your point, MTR, I think what Kevin Samuels did was hold up a mirror, and we had a decision to make. Yes, we had been lied to. Yes, some of us had those modern tendencies, but it was basically a line in the sand. And then you can say, okay, am I going to stick my head back in the sand, la, 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 and say, I don't want to hear that anymore, and you should go away, bad man? Or am I going to say, you know what? am I really fit, feminine, and friendly?
Right.
And those same women who cheered his death, you still lonely. You still need to buy a dog and die alone.
still overweight.
And you still aren't succeeding. But you've listened. Kevin was a personal friend of mine. He was a personal friend of him, of MTR here, and. Like we knew he was trying to help. He was the stern father you never had. See, I had a father. My father sounds like Kevin to this day and holds me accountable. But see, if you've never had somebody tell you the truth, like, ma'am, what, like your mindset, your attitude, the way you're moving, like I'm sorry, like and actually there's so much pride and ego in women today because we've been pandered to and told everybody's a queen, everybody's a princess. Everybody is, just because you're born with female anatomy, then that means that you should be treated a certain way. But every day we see in the news there are women who are not fit to even walk the earth, that what they've done to their children, what they've done to other people. There's just a scandal that came out. I won't say the word, but this woman falsely accused several young men of doing something to her. These young men tried to delete themselves because it was absolutely a lie. Now, evidence came out recently where she went to the store, bought a hammer, beat herself.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
These young
They got it on
men,
tape,
if it wasn't for other men coming around and supporting these young men, and they were these older men were canceled because they were trying to support men who did SA. And just because she was a woman, she was believed. And I'm not saying that doesn't happen. It happened to my mother. That's how I have my oldest sister came from that when she was 14. So of course, I actually come from a family that's happened, but I still know several stories of women who have falsely accused, ruined these young men's lives. And guess what? You know what society says after that? That young woman, this is one woman who was finally held accountable because of her lies and destroying their life. But do you know what happened? Those young men, most of them who have been falsely accused, they lose their scholarship, they lose their jobs, they lose everything. And then there's nothing that's said. If it goes away and it wasn't true, you never hear accountability. You never hear any woman go to jail for falsely accusing those men.
There needs to be a law for it.
Who do you think pushes when you mentioned that women are told that they're queens, they're princesses, they're special? Who do you think pushes that more, men or women?
I think women. Because women influence, like my father never called me a princess. Like I never understood this princess thing. My father called me meatball because I was a little fat little baby. And my entire life he used to say, Meaty, you getting a little thick. Let's go to the gym.
So if we blame society in a way, if we blame society, if women are the ones that pass on culture, and women are the ones that are pushing these lies more than men. In a way, when we say society, we're really talking about women.
Yeah. Because we run because women, this is why society is the way it is. Because women buy. Women have the purchasing power in the world. We buy everything. So corporations, media have learned pander to women, their needs, their feelings, because men aren't buying things. Men are more price conscious, not all, but most men are not just spending frivolously. And so women, we will just spend on our feelings. We spend, it's by 90%, I think, the purchasing power. So media and culture has set up things so that women feel good because they are the ones that are going to make them rich. I mean, that goes into a lot of layers and a lot of levels, but that's the reason why our society is the way it is and why women are not held accountable, because it's not profitable.
I just want to bring it back to the quick point is that, like, I don't know, like, if I ever get elected into any house or Congress or anything like that, there's got to be a way to make these false allegations illegal. Like there has to be something. Listen, most men have a friend that has had a friend, if not them, that's been falsely accused. Most men know of a man who they have a child with the lovely young lady. The child's mother can utilize some false accusation to remove that child from that man's life. Shit, I got a story on my channel, me being falsely accused of some shit. We all of us, but see, we won't want to talk about that. All of a sudden, we want to talk about holding them accountable. All of a sudden, we want to talk about that.
Can we talk about the DNA testing center? I had two guys call in. They work at DNA testing centers. One guy had to quit. One guy still works there. He told me 40% of the children are not the man's child.
40%.
40%. He said 40%.
Somebody called Maury.
It's usually
Make DNA testing
it's two
mandatory.
It's two scenarios. It's where the woman, the person's getting a DNA test because the woman claims that is their child. Turns out it's not. The other one is where the parent is on a deathbed and makes a confession, or they need a liver transplant, blood transfusion, and the blood type. There's no way that can actually be the father. So then they find out that because of medical reasons. You mean that's not my father? Then the father finds out from that way. He said it took such a toll on him that he could no longer do it because he would be sitting on the phone counseling the men and the grown children who these women falsely accuse. We see it on Moore, we see it on paternity court, but yet we say men need to be held accountable. Why are these women needing all these why does Maury exist with you are not the father? Why does paternity court exist
if DNA testing was mandatory? Do you know what would happen if DNA testing was mandatory? If they tested all women?
You'd have an
calamity.
My sister told me the other day, this should be standard. My sister told me last week.
That's why they won't do it,
She said it should be a standard thing at the hospital.
But that's why they won't do it. To me, it just makes sense. Give an epidural, DNA test.
I'm doing a documentary on the court system here in the UK. And I was interviewing this guy. He works for, it's called Fathers for Justice, and they help men get custody of their kids. And one thing I found out is in the UK, you are actually given a free counsel, which is a lawyer basically, if you accuse your husband of abuse. Yeah. And what the women can do is they can accuse the guy of abuse and file a restraining order against him, even if he did nothing. And if he breaks that, he actually goes to jail. Yeah. And it can take 1 to 2 years to even get the kid back. So you could have a newborn and not see the kid for 2 years over a false allegation. And then, so he told me this story of this guy who the mom accused him of touching the kids, and it destroyed his social life. It destroyed everything. He got let go from his job. And the man, he called the guy and said, "I'm going to kill myself." And hung up, and he said, "Thank you for helping me. But I can't do this. I'm going to kill myself." And he shot himself in the head.
That's what happened. That's what happened in the DNA center. That's what a guy quit.
And so, are the women held accountable for causing the men to do that over a false allegation?
Well, no, because even if that turns out that that's false on the man, that still sticks with him forever.
Forever.
Yes.
You're guilty.
Regardless.
You're guilty until proven innocent for men.
Same thing as the essay.
It's not guilty. It's not innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
No.
It's guilty until proven innocent.
Exactly.
You put it out. Look what just happened with Amber Heard and Johnny Depp.
That's right.
Look what just happened with that ESPN.
Don't get me started on Amber Heard.
Analyst.
Do not talk about Amber Heard.
What's his name? I don't really watch sports like that.
I forget his name, but I know you're talking about.
He just, and because of a false allegation,
yeah.
because of that, he was not allowed to report at the Super Bowl. Off of that, now we suing him for like tens of millions of dollars or something like that. It's absolutely preposterous and absurd.
Amber Heard should have woke all women. Do you know about the Amber Heard case?
Yeah.
Okay, so Amber Heard, the Me Too, all of that, to this day, she is still lying through her teeth. And we had to, there are SA victims, SA counselors that actually support Johnny Depp, because we could see it for ourselves. There are women, you may not be that way, right? Yeah. So a lot of women, we internalize it and we'll say, well, my friends and the people I know, but there are so many women who are like Amber Heard, who to me is a complete demon.
Lying.
And
she took a shit on his bed.
No.
You're a nasty young woman. You're a nasty. Where the camera at? You nasty.
But not only that, but what she did, she violated him. The things in her lives would ratchet up, and guess what happened in society? Just because she made the accusation, his life was destroyed. It took him 6 years in a public trial in order to get it out there. If that trial was not public, people would have said, oh, well, the court system is against women and all that. But because we can see it, I knew Johnny was innocent early because I had saw some stuff with Amber Heard. I knew she was a narcissist just by the things she would do. But most people were fooled by her because she was pretty and had a smile and she just claimed victimhood. But once it came out, Johnny Depp, his case was pivotal for all men and all women to finally see that, yes, there are women and a large number of women who are lying. And the paternity court, Maury, why don't you as women say correlate and say those women on paternity court and Maury, who the father is not it. There's been women who've been tested, 30 men, and they still have not found the father.
But this is what we talk about accountability, right? Because the modern woman would prefer to lie than take accountability. So with the Amber Heard Johnny Depp case, she preferred to lie than to be seen. Because I've always said that women have a perception, right, that they want to keep up. They want to be seen a certain way.
Shouldn't destroy our image.
And so what it is that for women, image is everything. Right, and so with Amber Heard, she didn't want her image to be destroyed. With the women that go on the Maury show, and I'm telling you, they go crazy. He should have been doing this before the DNA test comes out. By the way, they're going crazy because what? They're trying to keep an image, right? The problem is the reason why MTR was talking about DNA test should be mandatory. The reason why they won't do it is because women's image would be destroyed. Women want an image in this society, and their image is going to be destroyed. So what they would prefer to do is lie, because there are most people believe that women are quite innocent, believe that they're the ones that are always a victim, right? What will happen is their image will be destroyed and they'll be seen for who they are, and they don't want it.
Maybe that's what needs to happen to break the system.
Here's the thing. I'm gonna make one point. I'm gonna make one point.
What she has to say.
One of the things that I learned in doing content in this space is, like, when I think about, like, the reason that feminism is where it is right now, and the ideals as what it is that it's all a power play. It's all about power. At the end of it, at the beginning of it, and at the end of it, it's about power. Why would you consistently want to be a victim? To act like you are a victim in a society and talk about this patriarchy and talk about you're in this oppression when you're in the freest cleanness, lack of poverty, lack of homelessness, lack of, and the most abundant version of that society that has ever existed in the history of mankind today. What rights do you not have that I have? But that's what we've convinced them today, as if it actually exists. So they think they could just get away with the privilege of not being accountable because of all the structures that are put into place. One thing you guys mentioned before earlier was about Maury. Think about the concept of Maury. This is why so many women today are incapable of understanding the word accountability when they look at the different structures within our society today. The concept of Maury is she can test 6 to 10 men, but she'll never get booed. Ever.
She gets clapped.
She can come out up on stage and never get booed, but they'll boo all 6 of the guys, even if they were never the father. They'll boo every last one of them. As a young boy, I'm sitting here watching this shit like, damn, men ain't shit. Men ain't shit. And that's the shit that I was looking at the content. Men ain't shit. Because, of course, they had the dudes on the side saying, boo, or yay, if the woman came out. So it goes deep. It goes so deep at what we've been conditioned to believe in.
But
that's why. Hold up. That's why there's so many women today that are just incapable of seeing behind the trees. They just don't see it. They literally don't see it. They blind to it. But they were conditioned to be blind to it because it makes them a better consumer.
But you know what, MTR? Sorry to cut you, right? But you know what happens when they do get found out to be lying? They get consoled.
No, they run off.
Oh my God, I got
they run off and scream.
Don't worry. They run off and scream.
I got so many stories about this.
And everyone's like, oh, it's okay. So what it is that there's no accountability. Me and MTR know, right? If a guy does something and it's wrong and it goes tits up, there's an accountability there, right? There's accountability right there. Women get consoled. They get cuddled. They get told that it's okay. Don't worry about it. So then she does what? She goes and does it again. Yeah, because she never learned the lesson. There was no real consequence.
Exactly.
If I
she's consoled by men and women.
Men and women,
well,
exactly.
There's always a bailout. I mean, even the church. I mean, it tells men to date born again virgins.
Fuck out.
No, can I say? Look, can I say this on Maury? Even if you watch it, the women will run. They will go automatically. The woman is cheered when he comes out, and all these men are booed. She will run off the show, screaming and crying, going crazy. And Maury will chastise the man. That child still needs a father. She didn't mean it. You know, you should still be nice to her.
You should.
But if the man is like, but if the man says that's not my child, I'm not gonna. They shame him. Boo. And it's gonna be that. What do you think about that? Like all of this that we've said. We've said a lot. I'm sorry.
You had a thought earlier. I'm just gonna let you go really quick.
My thought was, so what's the solution, right? Like, men talk about we want to be forward focusing, we want to reach a goal, we want to end a solution, right? And so back to the proposal earlier, it's the 5 to 10% of men, right? We've all agreed that men should be leading, right? But men have taken a passive seat to allow women to the platform has switched. Women are being men. We're out here in the streets and we're doing what we were doing before.
Women who are
yes, please lead. Please lead.
We chose to be, but we chose to do that.
We chose to do what?
So whose fault is it? The men or the person making the choice? We made the choice to sleep
Well,
around.
let's be clear though. Where did that come from? Because back in the day when men were leading,
we're in control of sex. They're in control of relationships.
Okay, so but where did that come from? It came from a lack of fathers sitting their daughters down. To her point, she brought up a very good point. And I guarantee you, if
why?
this 80% of women had men, what do you mean why?
But why? Because there's incentive structures in place that allow women to take the father out of the home with no consequence. And women chose
historically,
to do,
absolutely.
And women in the last 100 years, or
absolutely.
since the 60s.
Yeah.
So again, women chose to do that. We didn't have to take those structures up.
Okay, so we kind of were forced to. That's another
No, we were
discussion.
not, ma'am. No.
We were not forced to. If you weren't going to get a check if your husband was in the house and you had to provide for him and the kids, we absolutely were forced to take the government.
That's a false narrative. That's a false narrative. First,
paint me the real one, please.
No. Okay, so I will back it up. So if we go back into this, it is third wave feminism that actually caused this. And we talked about it earlier. I was talking to Pearl about it, about Cosmopolitan magazine and how they actually it made money to create in the Black family structure specifically, because this is where the problem really lies in the world, in the U.S. I will say. I don't know how it is in the UK, but our family structure, they purposely destroyed our family structure because it made them money. We can go into even government welfare, government cheese. There was a surplus of farmers having cows. They needed to make money. Government grants somebody needed to get this cheese, so to get this milk, get the food that they had a surplus in, or it would go rotten and these farmers would not make money. This is layered upon layers of layers that were systematic. So to say we did not have a choice, we chose greed. We chose a bag over a man. We chose to not have our children. We would rather have a bunch of money than have our children have a father in the home.
I disagree.
No. You have to know the history. This is proven fact.
History.
No,
men were not able to work and provide for their families. We were forced to take the government check.
That's false.
They couldn't stay in the house if they were there.
That's false.
Then how were they going to feed the children?
False.
And where was
the
it coming
children
from?
were fed. Women were greedy
because it was coming from the government.
No.
But if the husband was home, he wouldn't be employed.
Black women wanted to be like white women in the Cosmopolitan magazine. The woman who started Cosmopolitan magazine, the main editor, she is now a Catholic, and she repented from what she did. She said we were teaching women because we wanted all women to feel that we had a gripe with white men. And so this is public knowledge. You look it up on YouTube.
She talked about it.
Yes, absolutely. They wanted Black women to also be part of their movement in other races because it wasn't enough. The Black woman and the Black man had to stay together in the U.S. because it was the only way for us to overcome. What they did was with Cosmo, they lied. These were women that would say, you know what, this is a single woman, moved to New York. She's sleeping with different men. She has her life. She has her own money, her education. She's getting these jobs. These women were promoting promiscuity and living a certain lifestyle when they were all married. They were all lying and making up these people because it was supposed to be a fantasy magazine. But women were taken as gospel and real. So what happened is Black women saw the white woman as pinnacle, because we're not going into colorism and all that. That's not what this show is about. But we saw the white woman as what to strive for as Black women. We're saying these white women are free. These white women are independent. These white women don't need no man. I don't need mine. He's not doing enough. He's not good enough as a Black man, when our entire lives, how we came out of everything we did in the U.S. was through the Black man and Black woman coming together. So we allowed these women and these corporations who wanted to make money off of our backs, and they knew that we had a insecurity about being dark, about being Black, and we wanted to strive to the higher societies because white women were seen as the highest. So we think we want to be like white women, get our education, do this, do that, when those women were lying even to other white women. They were lying to us as Black women. So then the government stepped in. There's whole documentaries about this on Black history. And I mean, Black historians will not refute this. This is what we all know as gospel in our communities. So what you're saying right here is Black children, when we were being provided for, but it wasn't enough. We wanted to be like white women, and we had greed in our eyes. We had envy in our eyes. And we're like, I don't need no Black man. I
can do better. I can do bad all by myself. And so our children, it's a false narrative to say if our children were not eating. Our children were eating. We want it better.
And yeah, because the idea it's a money.
You need a tambourine after that.
Wait. So the idea that it's a money thing and that like women had to take the government assistance because the men weren't taking enough money or weren't making enough money. Is that what you're saying?
So I think it's great that we can now, in our liberated sense, and now that we have the knowledge and understand it, right, we can definitely look back, vision is 2020, right, and say we would do stuff different. In that time, that was the narrative and the picture that was painted.
Is that what you're saying?
That is what I'm saying, because that was...
Wait, I just want to...
Sorry.
You're saying the men weren't making enough money, so the women had to take the government assistance.
Yes.
So, but even...
What?
Wait.
Oh my God.
Guys, wait.
Sorry, go ahead.
So even then, they had a higher standard of living than most people did in all of human history. So how is it an excuse when you're living better than most people did in all of human history?
Okay, so I'm speaking specifically for the Black families, right? And so back then, when men were living at home, they were not able to be employable, right? And so they would leave.
Why weren't they employable?
Because everything she said is 100% factual, right? And if we knew that was a narrative then, of course we wouldn't have fallen for it, right? But because they were trying to divide the Black family, they would say men to provide for your family or things like that. We don't want you to be there because we know that you're leaders and the impact of that. So how can we divide that? We're not going to give you good qualifying jobs if you're in the home. But then the woman, how can I provide and how can I do this if he's not in the home? They would take the government. We all know it's a scam now, absolutely. But back in the day, that was the reality. To get a good paying job, to try to pay for your family, be employable, right? You thought you had to not live in the household.
So you agree?
Yeah.
I wasn't that I wasn't agreeing. I couldn't elaborate on it, right? Everything she said was 100% factual,
so then
right?
But listen, though, if you agree, then why would they take that solution? Because it's almost as if Cosmo created this fantasy, but the Black women attached themselves to that fantasy
Don't we do it today,
overthrow the patriarchy.
We still do it today.
But Black men were never a part of the patriarchy.
But we're
so
still
what
doing
were you
it
trying to be
today.
independent from?
Listen, I'm not saying it was
Because
right. I
you
can't
can
go back
sell.
then and speak to their mindset.
So then hold them accountable.
I agree with that. I've always said we should hold women accountable this evening, right? But today we're still doing the same narrative, right? We're still selling city girls and being out here and being flown out. We're still selling it. And women are still buying it.
So I have a
They
question.
loving it.
Whose fault is it for buying it?
Exactly. I would challenge one thing that you said when you say that if we all agree that there's 80% of women that are out here running the streets, and then there's a 5 to 10% of men that are taking advantage of that. I reject the idea that the focus should be on the small percentage of men that are running the streets when we have an overabundance of women that are not acting accordingly. I would say let's at least get that down to 5 to 10% of women are running the streets, 5 to 10% of men are running the streets, and then look at them equally. But as long as we have the scale so tipped that women are allowing this, I say let's clean our own house first before we point the finger.
Yeah, but that's why I said you come back to the 1%, because we understand and we talk about it all the time on the show. Women make 80% of consumer buying decisions, right? So that means you can sell anything to women. Who are the people in power that know this? Because I'm not in power and I know this. So the people that are in power know this. Everything is sold to women. They sold them feminism. Now they sell them city girls. They can sell them, I don't know, they can sell them juice tomorrow. I don't know, whatever it is. Women can be sold stuff. So like I said, the point of I guess my conclusion is that women are not supposed to lead. Right? Men are supposed to lead the society. And men are supposed to start selling things to men. They won't get as much money, but they're going to have to start selling things to men, which is why podcasts like this exist. We know that the podcast like yours, Pearl, is not in the majority of podcasts, and many people don't listen to it. You have a niche because your audience is probably mostly men. Men don't buy like women buy. They're not going to be the Shade Borough crew or whatever. It's so easy to sell to women. We need to stop selling to women, and then. I'm getting
don't
deep.
think that's the solution.
I might get deep, but I think we need to start separating ourselves from certain types of people.
Okay, go ahead.
Break the system, right?
Certain types of people.
But listen, right? Women are the problem. I 100% agree with you, Maggie, right? I wasn't saying don't focus on that 80% of women. But it's a balancing factor. You can't just focus. That's extremity, right? When you go to one side and you focus heavy, it ends up going back up. We don't balance it out.
Why do we balance it when the problem is unbalanced?
Because unfortunately,
why would we balance it when women are causing most of the problems?
Because it's scientific, right? And just nature, right? When you're balancing things out,
it's scientific and it's okay. Go ahead.
The balancing beam, right? If you go to one extremity, the other one's going to go up. So just in approaching, we have to be careful to balance it out. This is just how it works naturally.
Guys, let her go ahead. Go ahead.
That's just how it works naturally, right? And honestly, how do we get here?
So I'm just not understanding what you're saying with the beam. So how does us talking about women? Hey, women, we need to step it up. And then the women will always come in and say, well, but don't forget about the men. And we're like, hey, you know what? We can deal with that when we get the women, because this is a way bigger problem than the men. Why is that an issue? How does that make the problem bigger?
I agree. We should definitely focus on the women. They need to take accountability. I'm not.
Right. No, I know, but I'm saying what about that makes
when we
the
get
problem
hyper
bigger?
focused on that and we solely focus on that, it causes a chain reaction of the opposite to then happen.
It makes
that's
a
just
good reaction.
That's just it's a chain reaction. That's how do we get there? We started focusing on men having all the rights.
How does it make a chain reaction? So I want to, because this is very broad, and a lot of times as women we say things that are so broad that they don't mean anything.
Gotcha.
And so if I'm saying, hey, women, step it up, let's do better. Okay, this is a problem, that's a problem, that's a problem, that's a problem, that's a problem. We could say, okay, the men have this one problem, we have 5. Why don't we tackle 1, 2, 3, 4?
Exactly.
How does that make problem over here bigger?
So if we have a balancing beam, they have 1, we have 5.
Right.
Right? And so we're trying to are we taking 5 away from here just to get it to 1 and 1? So it can be balanced?
I mean, maybe.
Or are we trying to just take 1 and 5 away? And then he goes over here, right? But technically,
right. So then it would be
some female word salad.
That's what I'm saying.
Word
Even if we use the balancing beam, right, and then this would be heavier than the men's problem. The only way to balance it out is to focus on the heavier problem first.
Exactly. And I would
even with this analogy, that doesn't.
I would argue.
I think that's feelings based.
We might be surprised that what we want the men to change may actually self-correct if women started acting differently. Men are going to holler. Men are going to try. Men are going to shoot their shot. But if we don't allow someone to have access without being worthy of it, then they'll either go to someone that will allow it. But if the next girl says, you know what, no, these are my standards, they'll go on to the next person. And if the next girl says, these are my standards, men will change their approach based on the results that they get. But we keep giving it away so easily, there's no incentive for a man to change. So I would argue we focus on the 80%, let's get our house in order, and we may look up and see there's always going to be that small amount of people who are going to try and, get whatever they can for free. But I think men would definitely step up. I think we should give them more credit.
Maggie, you're a quiet storm tonight. You are a quiet storm.
I told you. I'm going to read super chats for a second, guys. Maggie, you are a natural born YouTuber. You guys should check out her channel, as I've said.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. All super chats are going to be read tonight. So make sure you guys send super chats. Blessing, what are we saving for right now? Blessing's always got equipment he's trying to buy. Just bleed me dry. Right? This is a nice studio, right, guys?
This is a great studio.
Lovely.
It's all thanks to the super chats and Blessing bleeding me dry. Just going broke out here because of Blessing. So send super chats.
Kick out camera.
Oh yeah, we want to kick out camera. So okay, verse records. White sweater. Just want to be smart. Open your ears. Lisa the housewife. Maggie the lioness training these hyenas. Hashtag are you a wife? Bright and solutions people. Solutions. Lewis Hannah. When it was open to Black Americans, Black women chose not to have men in the house for a check. Hence a choice. Welfare was created by FDR's wife for widowed white women due to their husbands dying at war. That is why men were not allowed in the household. Wilson. That's not what you're saying initially. Liar. Marcus, the need to be right is real. Marcus, Melanie King is spitting too many bars right now. Fire emoji, fire emoji, fire emoji, fire emoji. Marriage causes divorce. Johnny Depp lost his DV case in the UK courts. The only reason he's seen as innocent is because of the USA courts. The UK courts are unreliable, biased, and the average guy can't afford justice. LUKC20. Melanie for the W on this one. The Cosmo fact is 100% accurate. They were told to write articles like they were writing them for Playboy. Ryan, cooking, fire emoji, 100 emoji. Facet, cooking tonight. Shout out to the panel and all the special guests. It's getting hot. Brighton, what's the solution for men and for women? What is the cure? How can we be better instead of focusing on the problem? What is the solution? DC081, I have a friend who already planned how he would delete himself if he's ever falsely accused by a woman because defamation will ruin any man. LUKC20, amen, MTR. D, the believe all women statement is faulty in my opinion. It's making women not accountable for their own poor decisions. Frank Major, one coworker said I sexually harassed her, sent all the money in exchange of sex. When she had a car accident, I was nice to her and sent her money to get an Uber. She reported me to HR. Growth, thanks Mel for bringing up the paternity discussion. K-Mal, hey Mel. Men aren't price conscious. It's because you spend all our money on fancy glass jars of pebbles from IKEA. We like to spend money too. PJ Cornell, the punishment for lodging a false accusation should be identical to the punishment for the crime the defendant was accused of. LP Berkshire, speaking from a professional standpoint, it is illegal to make false claims in the States. They just won't prosecute. Clark W., false accusers need to do prison time. Aaron, Laura, much love to Maggie and MTR. Great panel and discussions. Thank you for putting this together, JPT. Blue the God, I have had way more women than I was supposed to because of the daddy issues, and I was offered kind words. We got to do better educating and loving these women at an early age. Will of D, simping for Melanie, and shout out to MTR. Abdul Malik, the adult needs to be self-accountable, but our fathers, brothers, and uncles need to be held accountable for not protecting their girls before their women. BJ Olupa, women tend to give each other justification for their action with a selfish intention of self-preservation. When they decide to do the very same action, they are justifying. Hashtag sister code. Lou Casey, a W for MTR. Keith, a generation single mothers and babies having babies. We are now seeing the results. We have grandmothers in their 40s who have daughters in their 30s who have daughters just turning 18. They all want the same men. 90 Frito Pie. Women will sleep with married men over a mama's boy. Lou Casey 20. Yes. W for Maggie. Shelton Ward. Let's get active. John Quinn. To refer to the gentleman with the glasses, I agree. I think the reason society caters to women is society is simping. It's taking a microcosm of simping relationships and society of simps. 90 Frito Pie. Proverbs tells us no one is angry at a beggar for stealing food, but justice is blind, period. JT Coin, so cool to see Maggie. Alex Centellis, hey Pearl, so happy to see Melanie and Zara together on a show. Question, how can women scream patriarchy even when men are becoming women every day? At the end of the day, no matter how educated or high level a woman will act typical and emotional like Melanie, aka Karen hairstyle. 90 Free Topai, you're in a room with your parent. You're going to hold them accountable for your childhood. Who would be easier to talk to, mom or dad? Lisa the housewife. Maggie is a wife. Are you? Oh no. Lucky. Pearl, have you cleaned that laptop yet? I'm sorry. 90 Free Topai, great panel. Let's do all the toxic people from the past and see how they react to each other yelling over each other. I'm 90 Free Topai. Melanie should fight Destiny. Take it easy on him. I'm going to refresh this really quick just to see the new ones that came in. Guys, like the video. Also, we're doing a meetup Sunday in London at Flatiron Square, 5:30 if you guys want to come. And sign up for our email list. It's in the description. It's going to give you updates and if anything changes with the time or the place. So sign up for the email list. MTG, Gaming Bob, personal accountability should apply equally to men and to women. I love your level-headedness, Pearl. Men tuition. Shout out to Pearl, MTR, and Melanie. Glad to see you guys all together. Hope to meet you real soon. You've pushed myself and my co-host to make more content and step up our quality overall. Christian Drake, why are women trying to convince men to be weak? That's not what they want. D, Mac, MTR, and Mrs. King, way to rep the U.S. Chris, thank you for the super chat. Winton, the great prophet once said, become the best version of yourself to make the viscous innards moist. Genesis 4K, if Pearl is red pill. The PJ Cornell, the older woman is exactly right. I learned to treat Western women as a one-night stand material only. Now I'm engaged to an immigrant woman. That is only rational as a man in the West. Sentience, $100 super chat.
Hey, big baller.
Sentience, we missed you on the channel.
Oh, I know Sentience.
Yes, we all know, yeah.
Yeah.
Sentience owns the
Fun
super
fact,
chat.
Sentience was like the first big super chat. It was actually really encouraging. I was really frustrated at the time. He was like the first big
That's what's up.
early super chat to the show.
Shout out.
Just stopping by to show support to this intellectually opulent panel. Sorry, I don't know what the word means. Respect to Pearl, Melanie, Sarah, and Suedo Gamer. Gents in the chat, be well. Focus on yourself.
Pseudo. He's talking about me. I got gaming channel.
Focus on yourself and excellent. Let today's times forge you into strong men. Never let 304s distract you. Mega, people adapt to their environment. Okay.
Can I? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to say one thing. I know a lot of our conversation is focused in on accountability for women, but at least like I said earlier, like if you're a dude and you're unaccountable out here, I'm not sorry for you. Like I'm not sorry for you. I don't care at all. And guess what? The world doesn't care.
Right.
The world doesn't care if you fail and then you don't pick up the pieces. The world doesn't care if she cheated on you and you didn't improve on yourself. The world doesn't care if you're scared of failure. The world doesn't care. The world doesn't care. They will never care. You have to be a man within your own right, within your own masculinity, to pick up the pieces, solution for yourself, to create the life that you want. The world doesn't care. They care about women. They don't care about us. All right? So work on yourself and continue.
Keys to the game. Keys to the game.
What
Talk to
happened to
him.
your British accent just now?
It got
You
real
sounded
American.
American just
It
now.
got real American.
No, because
Sarah wants to come to the USA. What's up, my G?
yeah,
I got you.
I'll be there, man. Don't worry
Hey,
about
that was good. He's good.
Okay, so question. Who created unrealistic dating expectations we have today? Where did it come from?
Oh, that's a good question.
The women.
Women.
I mean, let's not pretend. I mean, what happens is women would go through trauma, make poor decisions, and what they do instead of changing and growing, they will say, well, I have to level up. And I have to they add more standards to what the men that they choose. Instead of saying something's wrong with me, I need to take accountability and the choices that I've made, they will turn around and say, no, the men need to jump through higher hoops. Now, I come now with more trauma, baggage, probably kids and everything else. But these men I'm now, as I age, I'm getting better like fine wine. I'm getting better like wine. And so they think that they keep raising these standards. And men across the board, almost every man I talk to, for a woman whose mind is right, they will lower looks. They will lower in every category. I have yet to meet a woman out the bag that will say that they will lower their standards to get a certain type of quality. The only time a woman lowers her standards in terms of looks and character and all of this stuff that they claim is when he has money.
I'm going to offer a different perspective.
Sorry, go on, bro.
I'm going to play devil's advocate.
Yeah, I was about to.
And the thing is that like if you look at patriarchal regimes across our world right now, women can't create anything without a man.
Yeah.
Nothing. They can't create anything. They can't just step out of nowhere and just create feminism. Feminism has to be supplanted by men. It has to be.
And defended.
But what percent of men partook in making those laws versus what percent of women participated in it?
Listen, I think a lot of men.
The 1% made it.
Listen, at the end of the day, there's things get shifted and changed due to money and men wanting vagina. That's why they say pussy runs the world. Because of simp-ass men that can't control their goddamn eggplant.
Mm-hmm.
Shit don't change in here without men. Shit will never change in those other patriarchal regimes unless men allow it to.
Can I tell you, all the inventions that make women's lives easier now were created by men.
You goddamn right.
Tampons were created by a man.
Uh-oh.
Pads.
Women can vote because of men.
No, actually, because men joined that. And so a lot of times we'll say that men are this way, men are that, but they never give voice to the men that actually created things and joined, with women to help create things. So it's like they just throw men in. Men don't have a desire to put women down. Like they don't even think of us in that way. Like
vagina feels good.
They have.
Let's talk about it.
So they don't have, like, I think women have this
wrong.
idea that men just are thinking about how they can, oppress us and do all this to us. When every even the C-section created by a man to save women's lives. If you actually go through history, the majority of things that actually benefit women today that we take for granted, and the same women will blame a man for getting pregnant, but another man created the C-section so you and your baby wouldn't lose their life. And so we don't think of these things, but I don't know. It's just emotional talk. We just say men are the blame for everything. Let's just put it out there.
To kind of answer your question, right? To throw a different caveat in there, right? Rich simp men changed the game. When men decided that they've got a load of money in their pocket and they decided to start flying women out and they decided to start paying for everything for women because they had it. What did Lil Wayne said? It ain't tricking if you got it.
Yeah, it is.
That's what he said, right? He said it's not tricking if you got it. So these rich rappers who were still simps, but they had a lot of money, started to change the game because a lot of women started to go to these concerts, go to these rappers, and these rappers would pay for everything. They'd fly them out. They'd do all of this kind of stuff. And then those women started to think, oh, yeah, okay, well, so-and-so flew me out. So-and-so gave me money. So-and-so done that for me. And so rich simp men also had a hand in spoiling the market.
Do you know it wasn't the rappers? It was the R&B singers.
Well, them too, whoever they are.
They started it. The R&B started it. R&B started it.
Do you think it's really simping if he gets sex out of it?
Yeah,
it depends how it's done.
You know what I mean? Like, is it really simping to Drake?
Listen.
Wait. So if money is nothing to Drake, and he spends money to fly a girl out, like the money's nothing to him, and he gets sex with this girl he wanted to have sex with.
Yeah, because
and I still think it starts with the women because they have to accept it.
There's plenty of simps that get pity viscous innards.
Yeah, but people like Drake, who have money, he might have game. Right, but when you got money, you don't necessarily need game. You just got money, right? So a poor guy who's got no money.
But you said it was rich simps who did it, and I said, is he really a simp if he's flying her out? You know, like
yeah, I would say he was. I would say he was. Like there's nothing in me, no matter how much money I've got, that's gonna say, oh yeah, let me fly her out. Why would you fly vagina out when there's vagina right there? Like
he wanted that
specific one.
Yeah.
He wanted
men
that.
have a
to me. If you're a billionaire or 100 millionaire, what is the cost of a flight to you? It's nothing.
So that's what. But the thing is,
and if you said, if all you had to do was tell your PA, hey, I want this girl at this time, pull the money on my credit card, it's nothing to him.
But
you know, half the time they're not talking to them.
But that's what I said, it's spoiling the market. So those types of guys, they spoil the market. That's what you do.
You mean the 5% women blame men? That's like blaming the 5%. How many are rappers?
I can't hear you guys. Go on. No, go on. I just can't hear you.
How many are rappers? I feel like that's the same argument to say, well, it's these 5% of guys, and it's not even 5% of guys who are rappers. It's a very small handful of guys who are rappers who actually do that. It expands beyond that, but it's still a small percentage.
And why do we say that they spoil the market instead of the women spoil themselves?
Ooh,
like they didn't. He didn't spoil shit. She spoiled herself.
Bars.
I think the word
simp.
Freestyle. I think the word simp gets thrown around without a tangible definition. So personally, I don't think that if you're a billionaire, you fly a chick out, or even a millionaire, you fly a chick out with like a $150 ticket round trip on Spirit. That don't make you no goddamn simp at all. Okay, and you're not even tricking either. Because the average date nowadays in America, right? About $150 if you want to take it out to somewhere nice to impress.
How you know this your game, y'all?
I like coffee dates and shit like that. I mean, most dudes. You know what I'm saying?
He doesn't need to go anywhere. He's in Atlanta.
Right.
I just got doxxed.
Doxed you. Not time.
Jesus, Pearl. God damn it, Pearl. We were cool.
No edits.
Damn, we are live. No indirect. Anyway, case in point. I just don't think that it's necessarily. I understand your point, my G, but I don't think it's necessarily a simp stuff. To me, simp is pedestalizing a woman, thinking that she is the prize without her proving anything, right? Like just thinking that you just owe her the world, diamonds and pearls. She deserves it, and she hasn't proved with her
Because we're
actions the
queen.
type of action
We should be
woman that she
spoiled.
But hang on,
actually is.
MTR.
You should,
That's the
you
thing.
should simp.
To
But hang
me,
on.
simp, again, is pedantizing. It doesn't
So
necessarily
don't you
mean
think
paying
that-
for a trip for her to come over here and slob on my knob. Like corn on the cob.
Don't you think that's
Check
a
in with
good
me.
That do
And
your job.
Hey, you know.
They're in the UK like, we're too proper for this slob on the knob shit. What is these Americans doing in here like that?
Americans in
Maggie,
here right
Come on,
now.
we are too
Maggie, you
proper.
from Atlanta? Don't play.
There's too many Americans in there right now. I
No,
don't get it.
actually, I do not
Uh-oh.
relate to that.
Slow us down, Maggie.
Yeah, I would just offer that. And I guess I would ask the question, so the women that are in this group that are getting food out, are they the same pool of women that would date an average man? It goes back to that 80-20. There's always going to be, the man with a lot of money, the woman that he's going to want to, pick for this day of the week. But we're talking about everyday average, like, I can't take you on a date because you have ridiculous expectations. Is it that same group? I don't think so.
I think average women have, because average women are accessed by those top percent of men, right? Those average women can get sex by those top percent of men because those top percent of men don't feel any way to have sex with a woman who's a 2 to a woman who's a 10, right? So what it does is that it spoils the market because these women who are 5s think that they deserve what the 10 gets, right? Because they were accessed by a 10, by a top tier man. They were accessed by him. And then now she runs around thinking, oh, those average dudes are they're weak, they're whack.
What it
It's
is,
like, no, that's who you are.
They set their new barometer because a man will sleep with you who is higher up. You think that that's your new set point. Like a lot of women will raise their standard. Well, now, because this man slept with me, he just was a F-boy. He was playing around. But now I can attain that type of man as a husband, who will wife me.
You can't.
And they actually will start to get run through by these men and they will put down average men who are on their level and look at them as lower. And the reality is that causes you to lose. I mean, even this whole conversation is not to put women down. It is not to, it's to say, listen, there are guys who are up at this level. They are sleeping with you, girl, but they are not going to wife you. They're sleeping with you because it's easy to do. You should be upset with them, not us, for telling you the truth. But you raise your standard to something that's not, you will never get the results that you want. And then we want you to get the results.
So I have a question for the older women on the panel. When do you think women start to lower their standards, if ever? At what age?
I didn't want to believe it when I heard Kevin Samuels say 60 because I thought that was so far off. But I really do believe, because we have this thing, black don't crack or whatever. I'm still 47. In 3 years, I'll be half 100. I should move differently than someone that's 27. So I would say women mistakenly think I can still compete in that arena, so I shouldn't have to settle. And then you end up in your 50s and 60s alone, and then you say, okay, I'll just be happy to have anyone.
She's telling the truth. So I'm 41, and this is the reality. I have young guys. I mean, like young, like ballers, NBA, like guys who are like early 20s who will hit me up, want to take me out and all of this. And a lot of women who still can carry a little bit as they get older, they're still in shape. They're getting hit up by these young guys, and you think you still have it because these guys will want to sleep with you. They'll even take you out. They'll even buy you something to do. They're not going to marry you. And a lot of women just like the glamour of it, and they feel like they still got it. And they don't realize these guys are just using you for easy sex. And so because they're sleeping with you and they're attracted to you, that translates in your mind that I got it. Like I'm still in the game. I know women who are like 50 and older who actually look amazing. Like no lie. Like I know these women. I have women in my family who look this way. And if they wanted to, most of the women in my family are married, but if they wanted to, they could attract, they're 50, they can attract a 30-year-old guy. And so it is not until they hit where it starts to crack and guys are just like, man, 60.
They can
Can't do
attract
that. That's six. That's 6, but to hurt even if a guy wanted to.
I was just going to say they can attract him, but they can't keep him.
Absolutely.
And ultimately, that's what we want at the end of the day. We're not just supposed to be out here floating around from man to man. We are supposed to be tethered and attached and belong to someone. And I think that's normal and that's natural. We just have to do a better job of making the distinction between attention and intention.
That's right. Sexual is sexual attraction versus relationship intention, and a lot of women cannot tell the difference.
So I'm curious. You said you're 21.
Yeah.
Would you say what they're talking about? Do you see that with your friends where they'll sleep with someone that's out of their league, or that someone famous will DM them?
Yeah, and you know, it's happened to me, but because I know they're rappers, footballers, basketball players, I'm just not into that because I know that they're not going to be available to me. So, but my friends on the other hand, they're more, yeah.
Will they fly out to someone where they don't know?
Yeah.
I'm curious, and you don't have to say this if you don't want to. How many guys has a girl your age slept with usually? Like, not you, but just in general.
Yeah. Now around 15, 20.
Hey!
Oh my God.
Are you 21 yet?
No, next month, yeah.
So she's not even 21 yet, guys.
And you would say the average girl. I'm not saying you
21
because
No,
savage.
me personally, it's only been one, but yeah.
but girls your age, it's like 15 to 20.
Yeah, plus
It's
even
crazy.
more than
And
that.
how many were they in relationships with?
None.
It's mainly situationships now, so you know.
Shout out to feminism.
And would you agree that it's like mostly the same guys that they're all sleeping with?
Yeah, but then every time someone does them wrong, like they start catching feelings. This guy's like, okay, well, I don't want a relationship with you. They're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna up my standards.
Wow.
And then
To where?
Why do I love her so much, guys? She's so pretty too.
Thank you so
Sorry,
much.
go ahead. Keep
a
talking.
cutie
Sorry,
pie.
she is so cute.
Yeah, they up their standards, and when there's someone that like maybe a rapper or footballer messages them, they're just like they hop on it, and then it's like a cycle. The same thing happens where that guy just doesn't want her for what she wants.
And most of the time, do the men tell the women up front that they're not looking for anything?
Yeah, but they still believe that I can change him.
Yeah.
Yo,
So-
feminism have
Yeah.
sold
Please have
women
her on
a
all
false
the
bill
time.
of goods. False
You are a
bill of
gold
So
right
goods.
here.
would you agree that it's mostly on the women then, because the guy said up front what they're looking for?
Yeah.
hmm And why did you make a
Wow.
different choice? What made you be in a relationship when a lot of your friends are in the streets?
Because I'm very traditional. I want marriage, and I'm just not into the whole rapper scene. I'm very private. I like to keep myself to myself. So I'm just not into it.
Y'all,
Yeah.
older women, we have to protect her. I
You-
feel
you
like
ain't-
you're like my daughter. I feel like
You
you're
ain't
baby.
gonna
Yo,
go.
son.
You ain't gonna.
Feminism.
I'm not going
you.
to.
I'm just saying women. They're not
Okay,
gonna.
don't put that on me.
They're not
That's
gonna.
your trauma. I'm protecting baby right here.
Yo,
if you want to reach
feminism-
out, I will talk to her. Absolutely. That's my job.
Feminism has disguised female empowerment through sexual liberation and acted like that
Absolutely.
thing is the damn truth. How
It's delusional.
do you create this idea that these guys are telling you this is not what I want, and you try to change their damn minds? That makes no damn sense to me.
Right.
At the end of the day, you need to look at your results. And if you are 15 guys deep, 15 large, sweating, young men,
You know that's low.
pumping,
That's low. these
aggressively,
Oh,
Okay,
God.
I get it.
and
Okay.
fully on top of the
Okay, we
biscuits
get it, we
in
get
it.
it, we get it, we
My
get
bad,
it.
Thank
my
you,
bad. I get off
thank
my
you.
shit.
Get
My
it,
bad. I forgot that was my channel for a second. You know what I mean? That's why they demonetized me.
But what she said is it's so important for young women to speak up like that. And even what Maggie is saying, it's almost like you can see the wisdom, you can see that coming out. And what will happen is with a girl like her, if her mind wasn't right or if she wasn't open to things, she will be influenced to go to the streets. And so many other young women are influencing their friends to go to the streets because they want to be validated in what they're doing. They don't want somebody doing better, being wifed up, because then I have to look at myself and like there's a bit of jealousy that she has a boyfriend. They didn't even put your boyfriend down.
Yeah, I've cut off a lot of But I actually
Good
don't
for
have
you.
any friends. Even my cousins, I've had to cut them off completely
Wow.
because they're going through hard times. Like my cousin's been with someone for 6 years and they're not in a relationship, and he cheats and he just uses her.
They're not
Then they look at
together.
me and they get really jealous, and that's why I just had to cut them off.
But that's so
completely.
dangerous, right? Because we need community. So
Yeah.
please connect with her and get that mentorship and get that,
Yes.
because we need that. We need people who are going to reach down and educate us and show us that it's different. We need men who are going to look at us and say, hey, that ain't cool. Don't be out here giving it to these boys. Don't be doing this, right? And that's why I keep going to the whole, it's a circle effect, right? It's not just focusing on one end. It's a role that both are called to play. Yes, we absolutely have to take accountability as a woman. And I love that at 21, approaching 21, that you are doing that you are mature, that this is wisdom talking. If we go out on these streets, even in America, I can't come across an average 21-year-old who thinks like you do. That is so rare. You are a unicorn in today's society. We don't exist, right? So I love that.
That's why I would say there are more husbands today. When a man finds a woman whose mind is right and talks like that even young, she is so valuable out here. Even like a man will let go of a lot of things. I talk to a lot of high value men in terms of what they're looking for, and I say, will you like, I don't need a 10. I will take a 7. I will even take a 6. I will take a woman if she has the right mind and I know I can trust her and I'm safe with her and she's going to be a good mother and a good wife. I'll take that all day over these IG models who are just worth nothing. And these men, they can run through them and it just becomes boring. It just becomes, they're intrigued by a woman who has character and quality. And a lot of these young women are not understanding this. Even men that you think are absolutely for the street, if they've come across character and quality, they are just like, they feel like it's a unicorn. But there are more men who are ready than there are. How many young women talk like this? How many young men
Not
are
many.
actually
No.
virgins compared to young women who are 21? They're not, women can get sex everywhere. That's why the body count is high.
Have you ever spoken to your friends about maybe that's not the best path to go down,
Yeah.
and how do they react?
They're like, well, they don't listen. Then the thing is, they get hurt, they run to me, and then the next day they're talking to them again. It's just like, it's a cycle. And then it's kind of dragging me down, and it's the energy, and I just don't want that energy around
One of the
me.
reasons why we don't listen to women out here, guys, okay, because women will say a lot of things. Like you said, they will say, oh, I hate him. He's this, he's that. Next week, they're back with him. They're back with him.
Why do they do that though?
Girl, you know why.
Because women are led by their emotions, not
And
by
they
their
want
logic.
validation from men, right?
Well, they're led by their emotions because, like, if a guy got cheated on,
Say that.
if a guy gets cheated on, right, his logic kicks in. He's like, okay, what is it like? What did she do? How did it go down? Oh my God, that makes me feel sick. Oh, I can't be around that anymore. A woman she wants that, like you said, she wants that validation. She's emotionally attached to somebody, and she will let that lead, and she doesn't think about the things that men think about when they get cheated on.
I'd like to answer your question. Why do women do that? I think it's because women, we just want everything. And we wanna, as women, we wanna think that who's that Ronaldo guy's wife? What's her face that was working at a shoe store?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Anyone
Pretty
know her
woman.
name?
Yeah,
I forget her name, but I know what you're talking about.
Georgina or something like that?
Georgina, yeah.
I think women in general, we're narcissistic, and we all think that we're more important than we are. And we also think that we can change men, as she said. And we all think we're whatever Ronaldo. So even if a man hasn't wifed the last 50 girls, 100 girls, 200 women, we're all just think that we're special. And that we're going to be the 201st that just changes him. And occasionally, there's a Ronaldo chick that gets lucky. And then all the girls point at the Sierras and the Ronaldo chicks and just say, well, they did it, so I can do it. But you don't look like her.
Right.
So you won't have that outcome. And then when you try to tell them that, they just don't listen and do it again. Yeah.
I don't think it's even determined on women. Like, a lot of times when a man is ready for a wife, the next woman that comes along that meets the criteria that he's looking for, he will get married. It may not even depend on because she's so special. It's just that she's meeting certain criteria that he can work with. And when a man is ready, Men own marriage. They own relationship. We own sex. So if a man wants marriage, he is tired of the streets, he wants a wife, and his mind is set on that, the next girl that comes along that offers at least a large portion, at least the majority of the things that he's looking for, he will settle down. And that's why women will say, why is he with her? She's not even that fine. She's not that bad. His ex-girlfriend looked better. And we will start talking about the looks. Women talk about, like, why are men so concerned about looks? We will dog a woman out who is with a man that we want, who is high value, and say, well, she's not as fine. And, like, people down the street, like, my neighbor looks better. I look better than her. She's not even a bad B. But yet we will get mad at men and say they focus on looks. But we don't understand the psychology of men. When they're tired, men can just go. If right now, of all of us women in here, it's a dry season, we need some D.
To the streets.
Probably even the dudes in here. We can go outside and say, listen.
Look at Maggie.
Let's just run it. Not
Joke, Maggie. It's
Maggie's
a joke, Maggie.
exception.
It's a joke. It's a
Maggie's
joke.
exception. But no, this is what women are. If I go outside, if all of us women go outside right now and we just walk up to random dudes and be like, listen, you can come to my hotel, you can come to my room, come to my apartment. I need some D. Let's get it in. We can just get it. We can go to a club and we can wear a sign and say, hey, come get this. And we will get it. If a man wore that, women are not running up to that man. We're scared. We're running away. We're like terrified. Now, will some men be terrified? Yes. But for the most part, men are going to come flocking, lining up for that. And it comes to marriage. If a man came on and said, listen, I need a wife. I want a woman. I want to be dedicated to her. I want to be faithful. I want to do that. Women will come running out of the woodwork. So men own relationship and marriage, and whoever comes next, if you line up enough,
you just gave some game out. Men are gonna be like, oh shit, that's how I get women. That's how I get women.
Don't get.
I'm gonna tell them that I want a wife.
Oh gosh, I messed up. I'm
gonna take a second to read super chats really quick. Aaron. Ultimately, the main goal for every relationship should be marriage and kids. If you sleep around, don't be upset if they don't stick around. Allie, no marriage means no divorce. I'm lobbying to make marriage illegal. Only side chicks can vote. They call me Mr. Bibbs. I'll give you another $5 just because I love the way the young lady speaks. And they do make a Jeep for women. They call it Jeep Liberty. Comparative historian evolution designed men to sleep around and women not to. This is the heart of the problem. Brighton, nothing good is ever easy. Actually, I read this super chat I thought was actually really good or interesting. How can the system be changed if the contributors of the broken system do not want it to change? The top men won't change it. They're winning. The women won't change it. They have a deck full of get out of jail free cards instead of accountability. Emily Ziegler, thank you, Pearl, for helping me be a better wife and mother to my kids. Also, I get a woohoo for finishing 6 months of chemo. Let's give her.
Yeah. Shout out.
6 months.
F cancer.
That's right.
Lou Casely 20. Melanie, the camera angle is not too forgiving. Allie, soy boys make it easy for top G's to use their women and discard. In the states of the USA, if Ray Ray gets a married woman pregnant, the husband has to pay child support. Who let that legislation pass? Controversial videos. Happy belated birthday, Kevin Samuels. PJ Cornell. I'm grateful to the men who fly women out for showing us the 304s they really are. Controversial videos. Where is Auntie Jenny? She's missing out. Brighton, the chat is necessary. God bless y'all. Ling, Mel, and Pearl are so damn fine. C. Rob the Great. Kevin Samuels was crucified for this content, but always said that men and women are better together.
Yes.
Paradox. Northern Canadian lumberjack here, wrong chat, I think. Stricker 17, only women can fix the problem. Cam from TMR Radio, actually, when the initial unemployment rate went up for all races. All women chose the government assistance. However, once the unemployment rate went back down, only black women chose to keep the check over their men, OJBs. What do you think about the whole passport bros situation and modern Western women slating Asian women, MTG gaming? Personal accountability should apply equally to men and women. I love your level-headedness, Pearl. Men tuition. Shout out to Pearl, MTR, and Melanie. Glad to see you all together. Hope to meet you guys real soon. You've pushed me and and my co-host to make quality content
read
and
that
step up.
already.
Yeah. Let me just refresh really quick to make sure that there's no other ones. Also, guys, like the video. A like is free. There's over 5,000 people in the chat. So we should have at least 2,500 likes. So make sure that you are liking the video. MB, MTR, Melanie King, and Pearl are a perfect storm. I'm in red pill heaven right now. Thank you guys for all you do. You've changed my life. Loss Maysel Almighty. Melanie ain't lying. 90s R&B was a masterclass in simping. Aaron, okay, I read that one already. Okay, one second. Do dating apps make it easy to find love?
No.
No, makes it easy to find
No.
sex and
Easier to sleep
situations.
around.
Yeah.
No.
That's it. Like, no.
And who's responsible for the influx
The date,
of dating apps?
the science, well,
Developers.
let's go into the data. The science proves it. So research has been done that the way the dating apps work, it is that 80%, actually 90% of the women are choosing the top 10 to 20% of men on there. And it's usually based on looks, height, and money.
You heard 10 to 20. I heard 5%.
Well, they like to skew it. I'm just going on what the numbers say. Like if you look at the research, if we really get into it, we could probably say the 5% that you're saying. That's what I believe. I actually think it's lower than that. And so the women are just swiping right. The majority of women, I think the comparison was 2 to 100 in terms of people who are in who swipe right on a woman. Men will swipe 100 and women will only swipe 2. So it's like it is women own these dating apps, and a lot of dating apps put fake women on there. And some women who are on there who look good, they're actually just selling their OF. You know, I don't know if you can say the word here. I don't know if it hurts it, but like their OF, or they're saying, go to my Instagram or go to my OF or hit me up on here, or my Cash App is here. So even the women who are swiping right, there's a lot of scamming and all of these other things. And a lot of men are genuinely looking for love. And again, from 18 to 30, there is 3 times the number of men who are virgins and sexless versus women. So women own these dating apps, and we're responsible for the men that we're choosing. We're not giving average men a chance because we're picking things on vanity and things that don't have lasting value.
Dating apps are for people who want to have sex, as you said. Dating apps are not necessarily for people who want to find love. I would say that love is actually harder to find in this day and age anywhere that you go, whether it be in a club, whether it be at a bar, whether it be on dating apps.
Do you consider Instagram a dating app, and would you say the same thing for Instagram?
I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
I would. I know that when I actually know that when I was single, I was on Instagram and someone DM'd me, and within 3 hours I was at their house.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I was risky.
I think it's better for women who are looking for better quality, because to me, Instagram I'm not on dating apps at all. That has brought me, because I'm actually putting out quality content on there, so guys are seeing my mind, not just a picture of me looking cute and just some caption that I decide to write, but they're hearing their mind, hearing the quality. I'm able to go and see what they're talking about, their friends, who they actually are. And you can I think Instagram is a better place to vet if you really want to. And I'm getting the quality is amazing, in my opinion, as a woman who's looking to be a wife.
I wanna.
Yeah, but you use Instagram from a business perspective. The majority of women are not using it from a business perspective.
I want to hear for the average chick, not a girl that's got her butt all over Instagram, just like normal pictures, nothing crazy. Would you say that Instagram is a good way to meet people for women?
I think the best way
from the men's
you
point
asking
of view,
me?
yeah.
No. The best way to meet a person is out in the real life. We need to get out in front of these ones and zeros and get out into the real world and just start to meet people. Here's the thing: is that from a dating app perspective, it removes being able to talk to women. It becomes completely vanity. It becomes completely how good your photographer was. It becomes completely your angles and this and that. Yo, listen, at the end of the day, women, if you want to meet good guys, if you want to meet good girls, you got to do it in real life.
Yes.
You know, so much of this digital ecosystem, listen, I love technology at the end of the day. I utilize technology. Technology has allowed me to quit my 9 to 5. I will forever utilize technology. But I got to understand, when does it benefit me, and then when does it not? And I think like a lot of younger people today don't understand it because they only have seen it with technology here. I grew up when internet was not even a thing. I'm like, I've seen life before internet, and then I see it after internet. And at the end of the day, listen, women are going to fall in love with what they hear, not necessarily what they see. So, of course, 2 women per 100 is going to swipe right to left. Of course. Because they don't.
What about
the
Instagram,
visual is not
though?
as important. about that.
Instagram, I think, is different because let's just say all of us in here, we've met through digital. We've met through internet. Like, I would not know Pearl if it was not for the internet. I would not know you. I would not know Maggie. I would not know
But you're 41.
Sarah Garvey. But I'm saying there are men that I have met that I'm able to.
But you're
have
not meeting
conversation-
average men. You're not meeting average men. You're meeting above average men.
Yes.
So let's talk about not the outliers. Let's talk about the majority. For the majority of people, dating apps do not benefit. Real life, in person
Not dating
conversations.
apps, Instagram. I'm
Instagram.
against
Well,
dating
I consider
apps. I said
Instagram a dating app.
I don't think.
Well,
it is.
it's multi-purpose.
I'm just curious.
I don't think so.
Okay, I'm just
My
curious.
dad is on there.
Okay, I'm just.
My dad comments on my
Melanie,
stuff.
I want to hear from the men's point of view. Do you guys, if you guys DM a girl on Instagram, would you be taking her seriously, or is that more for a casual thing?
Because I'll answer that, but to go back to what MTR was saying is that most younger men are socially awkward because myself, maybe Melanie, maybe
Don't know how to
MTR,
talk to women.
they don't know how to talk to women. But we grew up in a time before the internet, so we could socialize with people, and it wasn't a thing. We could talk face to face. We could start up conversations. But generally, the men of today, the reason why
I'm asking about you. I'm asking about you personally.
No,
I
I
know you're
wouldn't
in a
take it.
relationship, but when you were single,
Would I take it?
if you DM'd a girl on Instagram, was that for casual or for serious?
It depends on the mindset that I was in. If there was a time when I was
so you would do both
single.
So
Yeah, I would do both.
So you would,
Yeah, I would actually do
Instagram
both.
could hypothetically for you good avenue.
Yeah.
Okay, same thing.
Yeah. So
For you.
yes, by my specific results. Now, throughout my life, I had not been looking for a relationship. It's been since college since I've been in like a hard, cold-blooded relationship where I was like, okay, that's my girlfriend, and she was like, that's my boyfriend. So generally, when I hit up women on Instagram, it is for not relationship. Now, but at the same time, no, it don't mean that like into the future. If I was to do that in the future, it would just be vetted specifically for not relationship. But to me, at the end of the day, women need to understand this. If a guy's not ready, he's not ready.
That's
Depends on your
correct.
mindset.
If a guy is not ready, he is not ready. So during my periods of not ready, if I hit you out, what's up?
Okay,
But see, I don't lie to women at the end of the day. I let them know.
So Instagram, it's either or. I'm just curious, either or.
I would say it depends.
Oh my gosh.
That's what I said.
I think
That's
because
the best
Instagram
answer.
is also used more than just dating. A dating app is just for relationship, sex. It's about romantic interactions. Instagram, it could be business. It can be like you're showing your family, your
Has some depth
parents.
to
Your,
it.
Guys,
it could be a lot of things.
I just really want to hear from the three
Okay,
guys.
okay.
Okay, so
If you go,
okay,
sorry.
go ahead.
If you go off the majority of what people use Instagram for, it is not a good place to find love. And stop.
but
Period. Right there.
I asked for you. For you.
Yeah, for me, I know I answered for me, period.
Okay.
Yeah. I gave you the answer.
Thank you. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I'm only 25, but I remember making my first Instagram when it come out. And the first thing that come to mind was, I wonder how many girls I can talk to now. Straight away, it was just a casual, it was nothing. Maybe because I was younger, I'm not too sure about how I would be now if I was single. Maybe if I was, even now, I think it'd only be casual for me. I don't think you could actually go onto a dating app and try to find love. Because even at the point now, I was speaking to my single friends now, and I've said, how's your love life going? Well, you was out the other night, how did that go? And he went, I went to speak to a girl. Well, how'd that go? And he went, she freaked out. Well, what do you mean she freaked out? She goes, well, because I approached her. It's almost got to the point now where dating apps have destroyed the interaction between male and
Socially
female.
awkward.
Talk about
Where
it.
women are now, when a man approaches them, they're like, who's this creep? And they freak out. They really do. I think maybe, I could be wrong, but I think men are more open to trying to speak to women in public, whereas I don't think women are anymore.
Who is more afraid of commitment in modern dating, men or women?
Women.
Women?
They're afraid of getting hurt. The pattern that we have created for ourselves ultimately, right? Dealing with situationships, things of that sort. If you've been dealing with a counterfeit so long, how do you recognize the real? right? And so we're afraid to get ourselves emotionally involved and become vulnerable and intimate with someone because we don't know if it's the real deal, because we don't know and we've never been taught how to identify what the real is. So we're afraid because, like they said, when men are ready, period. They're committing. But now you look out and there's nothing to commit to.
Mm.
Do you think women really can't tell the difference between a guy who's going to settle down and a guy who won't?
Agreed.
Or
In this day and
Good
age,
question, Pearl.
in this day and age,
especially when a lot of the guys tell the girls up front.
Like she said.
I'm just curious, out of the guys, just really quick, when you guys were in hoe phase of life, did you tell the girls?
How
you were
dare
Absolutely.
you? How dare you?
I was 100% honest. This is where I'm at in life, but they always try to change you.
Yeah.
Would they get mad later?
Yes.
MTR,
Okay.
MTR
You was always the
baby girl.
evil one.
was.
Huh?
Same
I mean,
thing.
R.
Same thing.
R was.
R in the face.
I've never had a whole phase.
Okay.
I'm a nice
okay,
guy.
Angel.
Yeah. But I agree. I struggle with the term counterfeit because that assumes that a man is presenting himself as a husband candidate or relationship ready. I think oftentimes we see what we want to see and we blow past what they say and we end up hurting ourselves but blaming it on the men.
Do you think that's true or false?
I think that's true. I was thinking in terms of counterfeit relationships, not the men being counterfeits, right? They've dealt with so many situationships and things like that. They don't know what a real relationship looks like, right? So even when a guy, they have trust issues, right?
So what do you mean they don't know what a real relationship looks like? They've never seen a real relationship?
Precisely.
Daddy issues.
Daddy issues, trust issues. And to Camille's point, all of her friends, right? She'll have a real conversation with them. And then 2 weeks later, they're talking back to the same guy. Why? Because you know what it's about. Why do you keep availing yourself to that process? Why do we keep going in these circular motions? Because it's comfort with being hurt, right? It takes some level of vulnerability, trust, healing to make ourselves available for something new and different. And because we're unfamiliar with what that new is going to be, sometimes we're too afraid to open ourselves up to that, to explore.
I disagree. I think we know. We just don't want what we really should have. I think we want to force what we want on someone else when if we're just supposed to be in a regular relationship, we have a hard time accepting that. I think that's more of what it is. I disagree that it's.
Why? Who do you want? Like Prince Charming or something?
I think every girl does. I mean, that's how we're socialized. But I think the problem is, like you all said, we all grew up before the internet. We were able to look at pop culture or entertainment and say, oh, that's a great show. And it ended there. I never in my wildest dreams expected that I would be driving a luxury car in my 20s or having elaborate dates. Like that was not the real world, but somehow the lines have been blurred because of culture, because of moms, because of whatever. And now we think what we see out there is what we're supposed to be living over here. And
100%.
I don't think modern women today want Prince Charming.
Who do they want?
They want Superman. They want to take Superman and make him Clark Kent, but they just don't want Clark Kent. They want to tame Superman. They want to tame the alpha. They want the alpha to want them and only them in a monogamous relationship. They don't want Prince Charming off of deck. I go over on my channel time and time again. Good guys, nice guys, pedestalizing them, being simps, giving them the world, and then they get upon. They don't want Prince Charming. They want Superman to convert him into Clark Kent.
And then how often does that happen?
Russell Wilson.
There you go. Once.
Ciara's prayer. Meanwhile, she's still up in the Oscars half-ass naked.
That's right.
The nerve of you, Ciara. Grow up. You're a mother. Times 2
Can I
or
just
3.
say Savannah James looked like...
We should be
it was
talking about
glorious.
Savannah James
She
way
looked
more
like
than Ciara.
Yeah, let's not... Savannah James was the standard on that Oscars red carpet. She owned it. It was hers. She looked like a bride all over again. And I'm
Why
so
can't we
proud of
promote
her.
this
And I
more?
love her. And I think she is... Every woman needs to be following her because she is the epitome of femininity and a wife and just being quiet and but just...
She was
so
elegant.
powerful. It just seeing her, I showed my daughters her and I just said, and I compared her to all the other women that was on the red carpet, and my daughters were just like, they themselves, I said, what do you think? They said, Savannah James just looks like, I mean, like a queen, like just like they were just like, is she getting married again? Like are they renewing their vows? Because she just excellence and even how she conducts her family. She is. We need to stop talking about the negativity, I think, so much, and focus on the women who are doing it right, because I don't think they get enough of their flowers, and women like that who are really doing what they should do. But shout out to Savannah James. I just have to say, if you guys haven't seen her, she just looks. Go to her Instagram, follow her if you can.
For those that don't know,
She
Savannah
is
James
bad.
is LeBron James's wife.
She just
So she came out to the
ate,
Oscars with a
left
crazy
no crumbs,
looking
left
gown.
no crumbs, no crumbs.
In contrast to Russell Wilson's wife, Ciara.
Chain link
So
fence.
here's the thing, and I got to do a better job of this on my channel as well, is to continue to promote the Savannah James, continue to promote women such as like Alicia Keys, continue to promote women that I think would be a fantastic example of how to demonstrate yourself out in the public. We give way too much credence and relevance to the ones that don't cook, they don't clean, or the ones that promote this independent lifestyle. What's so crazy is that if you look back to like Beyonce, who was creating independent women at the same time of being married to Jay-Z, these famous women don't care about y'all. They appropriated being strong and independent for the dollar. And y'all don't hold them accountable, but y'all hold us accountable.
Actually,
Y'all hold Kevin
recently,
accountable.
They did with
Y'all
Ciara.
hold Pearl accountable.
They did with
Y'all hold
Ciara.
Melanie accountable. Y'all hold Sarah accountable. You hold Maggie, the substitute teacher, accountable. That's who y'all hold accountable, but not the ones that lied to y'all. It makes fundamentally no sense to me. But at the same time, modern women don't hold modern women accountable.
Competition.
Who do you think is more afraid of commitment, men or women?
Personally, I think women.
Women?
I think it's a strange one because both sides can be scared of commitment, but I think in the past, women wanted to be more committed. Speaking to my grandparents, great-grandparents, they always talked about growing up, how important it was that they found a man, go dancing with them, marry them, settle down, have kids. But these days now, I think women are too scared for commitment because they want to be independent and be their own boss, their own future. And I think they always get maybe too scared to rely on a man's money these days.
What do you think? Who's more afraid of commitment, men or women?
I think men, if you want to define commitment as marriage, I think men making rational decisions regarding long-term commitment should be doing so and understanding the potential negative repercussions for choosing incorrect. If you choose the incorrect woman, that'll be one of the worst decisions that you ever make in your life. Why? Because men feel the brunt of making an incorrect decision. If you decide on a woman who wants to false allegate, you suffer the consequences. There's no such thing as false allegations when it comes to man on woman. If you decide to wake up on your head every single day and you look to the right of you and on your pillow is a terrorist that makes your life a living hell, you're still guilty until proven innocent. I think at the end of the day, in understanding the negative repercussions in the family court system, in understanding what is going to happen to you if you're the breadwinner with alimony, with the child, men are just making rational decisions regarding commitment. But at the same time, men today have so many other options within that. And this is the scary thing. If you look in a culture such as Japan, which has a rapidly decreasing birth rate, and the level of technology that Japan has actually is more than the United States. You could be in an elevator 5 floors down in a parking deck and still get cell phone reception in Japan. But they utilize technology to the point where you can be in Japan and they have hug parlors. Because men might need affection and then they can just go get a hug. To say that that will not be a reality within our modern culture today, within America, within North America, within Western cultures, is not far outside the reality. And I think that's something that has to be assessed.
They can buy used panties out of a vending machine.
They can buy
And
bathroom.
they are
in Japan.
In Japan, yes, used
Yeah.
panties out of a vending machine, and they also love dolls are the
Huge
they
over
are they are innovating in terms of robotic companionship.
But listen, I always want to finish a point real quick as well. If you look towards all of the forms of entertainment that young men within modern society today, within Western society today have, they're coming up to a real fundamental decision. Like, bump commitment, marriage. Let's just talk about dating. If the option is, yo, I can go over here and go on a Call of Duty LAN party with me and my partners for the rest of this Friday night and have a bang up time shooting terrorists in the head, versus going on a date with a modern woman today, these men are making rational decisions. There are men that are making rational decisions of, should I stay in tonight, beat off the hub, instead of going out and deal with the mouth of a modern woman. Like, legit, they're making these rational decisions.
But
and the technology today is bringing us farther apart than closer together. And the thing is like, that's the point of social media. It's supposed to bring you closer together, but it's a faux, it's a fa bringing closer together. It's not a closer together in reality. And in fact, it's bringing us farther apart because we have all of these short-term dopamine-driven options.
What do you think, Melanie? Who's more afraid of commitment, men or women?
I think men. I think he's correct in terms of if you want to talk about marriage. But if you want to talk about, I think it's twofold. I think if we're talking about marriage, it's going to be men, just because of the consequences that if it doesn't work out and the responsibility, what it means to a man. Men have very little benefits to being married. Women have most of the benefits to being married. But I will say this, in terms of just like commitment relationships, women have more options in terms of swiping right. And they always, the hypergamy, and they always want something better, something better can come along there. Why would do I want to settle with him? Because, who just popped in my DM? It's actually, and they don't want to tie themselves down because somebody richer, finer, or something will come along, because it's easier for us to just, unless you're like a high level and famous and women know who you are, you're not flooded with DMs and women coming after you. But women, even if you're an average woman, there's more men trying to come at you, and you never know who could be around the corner. And even the dating apps show this. This is why women just will constantly swipe left on the majority of men that are out there.
And this is supported by the data as well. There was a report that recently came out that said that between the ages of 18 to 30, women report being in a relationship 60-ish% of the time. Meanwhile, men in the same age range report being in a relationship 30% of the time. Right? So then the idea is that most women are dating older because it's not within that specific age range, or LGBTQA, right? So if 20-ish-year-old men are going their own way, then this is something that has to be looked at, because our birth rate right now in America is the lowest that it's been in like 40 years. And we're catching up to Japan. So we have to address these issues today, because if not, you don't want to be in a country with a rapidly declining birth rate. That's like being in a corporation with a rapidly declining profit margin. But you don't want to be a part of that.
We have to understand that those guys are actually, those guys are actually, you said they're opting for video games. They're also opting to actually leave the country, hence Passport Bros, right?
Shout out to the Passport Bros.
Right, there you go. So what's happening is America doesn't understand, and I guess women don't understand, that what they're doing is that they're pushing their men away. So they're pushing their men away to these other countries and then cursing them out for going to these other countries while pushing them away. So it's a whole vicious cycle of what's going on in America. I actually think, like you said, America's birth rate is going to get like Japan's, and what is going to happen is that Americans are going to be having babies with other women from other countries, and I think we're seeing the fall of America. Actually, I think we're seeing it in real time.
That's what it's abuse. So what do you say? If I don't want you, no one else can have you. And then you see these women that's like, oh, they're broken, dusty. They can't get women. They can't get up with a woman like me. But that's why they have to go there. But they reject these men, treat these men like crap. And then when they go and these men, and first of all, this is pride to think you're better than a woman who in another country. Just because she's in another country, you're so much better than her. That just shows like you're all for women and you want women to win, but yet these women from these other countries, they're poor. They'll just get with a man for a sandwich. I mean, I've just seen the most deranged
why don't
things.
we learn from them?
It's abusive.
Why don't we learn? It's like
Absolutely. I've talked about
if someone's getting an A in a class, you don't get mad at them. You take notes. Why are they winning?
Facts.
Why
it's
are they
pride.
winning?
It's pride.
It's
we
ego.
we feel like we own our men in our culture, and it's like if I reject you, and a lot of times women are not wanting to compete. If I use the word compete with women, they're just like, I don't have to compete.
Oh no,
love is love.
He should like me for me.
Right. They don't want you having more options outside of what they're giving you. So like they want you to accept their lower standards.
I think that's why women shame men for having standards, is because then they don't have to compete for a man.
Absolutely.
If we can convince him that we're the best and have slept around, we're overweight, we're like anything that a guy, when we're older, then we don't have to compete. We don't have to bring anything else to the table.
Modern women today will shame, insult, and guilt you out of your standards. They will shame, insult,
It's
and
abusive.
guilt you out of your requirements.
And how can we improve if we don't even admit there's a problem? If you're overweight, the first thing you have to do is weigh yourself. But as women, we can't even weigh ourselves without pointing at the men.
No. But then that's why I said it's. I really do believe, like on a deeper note, I believe we're watching the fall of a nation right in front of our eyes. I actually believe that we're watching the fall of the West in general right in front of our eyes. And I said the women, and I say that because the women are degenerating, in my personal opinion. If the women are degenerating, the whole society goes to pot. The men are now saying that they can be women now. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm saying the whole society is going to pot. So we can sit here and because for me, I think it's not just relationships that need saving. It's the whole society.
Do you think looking at women, you can tell what a society looks like? Like if you want to see what a society looks like, you look at the women.
100%. You can look at society, and that is why men are flying over from the West to another country and getting play. The women from the West, they can't fly over somewhere else to go and get men.
No,
there's
that's why they're
there's
mad.
absolutely
That's
no
why
way
they're
they can go over and get men from over there. They'll be like, there's no way I'm dealing with that.
Women cannot go. We don't have the same. If Western men are not wanting us and can't deal with us, we can't get a man here. Men from more traditional countries, which the vast majority of the other countries in the world are way more traditional than the West, especially the U.S. I don't know about the UK, but the U.S., if the men there say that you're a hot mess and they're not wifing you up, you're not going to go to Italy, Portugal or Brazil and get a man unless he's trying to get a visa.
I gotta contradict that because I'm the digital nomad, right? I'm the person who's traveling and going to these places. However, I will say that I have an open mindset that I'm going in culturally, and to you guys' point, I want to study from the A student, right? I want to understand their culture more.
What do you disagree with? I'm
not disagreeing. I'm just providing a different perspective of a woman.
You said you disagree with that, so I was just wondering, disagree with what? What part of what he said?
Oh, no. I'm following behind Melanie here. Or I'm sorry. Yeah. With the fact of women not being able to do that. And so I'm saying as a digital nomad who is doing that, who has been doing that since the pandemic, my experience has been different. But it's because I'm coming into these cultures and I'm understanding, to your point, I'm studying the A student, your submissive nature, your culture, right? What are we not doing in America that we should be doing better, right? Because we aren't getting it over there. So that's been my mindset. So I've literally been in Portugal. I'm literally in London, and I've getting hit on from guys all the time who are seriously wanting relationships. They're wanting marriage. And it's because I'm making friends in these different cultures. And they're teaching me, be submissive, learn a little bit. And this is how we serve our men. This is how we cater to them. This is how we are, providing that. And I'm honestly, American women should be doing it more. It's life-changing.
Yeah.
It is.
Sorry.
Let me comment on something real quick. Sarah said something that was incredibly important. And I just don't want us to skip through it because it was so important. You said that the direction or the way that we are moving right now is leading to the fall of our society.
That's correct.
And if you think about what has been the cornerstone to build the West, the cornerstone has been hard-working men. Hard-working men. But the hard-working man today gets no respect.
That's right.
The sanitation worker, the construction worker, the plumber. They get no respect today. And it's just, that's why on my channel, I ensure that these men get airtime frequently. The oil rig workers, all shit, if you just strip them off today, our world would be in calamity, even today. And these same exact men don't get respect.
Yep.
And the thing is, I think to myself, like, what? Why is that? The modern woman today has been tricked that her education is correlated to her intelligence, or it's correlated to the type of man that she is owed.
Her worth is equivalent to that. Yeah.
And it's bullshit. So here's the thing. Digital nomad. Would you date a blue collar man?
I
A
have.
hardworking man?
Absolutely.
Talk about
I'm
it.
dating right now. I mentioned that. That's my status in dating. And
What's he do?
he drives. He's a driver.
He's a trucker. Shout out to the truckers out there.
Driver. Yep. So I absolutely, and not to mention just a digital nomad, I'm a business attorney, right? I went to college at 16. I definitely have accolades, but I'm not leading that as my forefront. I didn't come from that.
I'm a PhD.
I'm trying to be. That's not what I lead with, right? I very rarely even. It's not that I'm hiding it, but I don't want to talk about that. I want to get to know you for you. What is your character like? What are you? That's what I want to marry. That's what I'm interested in. So I don't really care what you do, honestly, because my mindset is as a woman, as a wife, what a wife brings to the table, honey, is I'm going to equip and value us. If you got a dream and a mission, baby, I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna flourish it. I'm gonna cultivate it because that's what I believe women are purposed to do, right?
Yeah, but do you believe that men from other countries are looking at women in America specifically thinking, I want that American woman?
Absolutely not.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But I approach it differently, right? I'm not coming over there as the American girl. I'm coming over. I have friends in the culture. I'm in their culture. I'm immersed, and now they're interested in me, right? They're like, what's different about you, right? You're not the American girl. You're not who we see on TV. You're not the culture, and it sparks conversation. And then they get to see me, and they're talking to me, and they're like, it's something different about her. Just like Camille, you can notice a unicorn in the room by how she speaks, how she talks. That's how you know a wife is how she talks.
I think the downfall of America, specifically as a Brit, as one of the only Brits on this panel, right? I think one of the downfall of Americans has been the ego. And Americans for very long have thought that America is the world.
Yeah.
Right. And so the world kind of revolves around America and it's the greatest nation, not realizing that all of this other time, the rest of the world has always existed. The Saudi Arabias, I don't know, the Thailands, the Philippines, the African nations, and then what's happened is the ego has grown so big that it started to kind of implode on itself when it comes to America. And everyone's like, we were trying to tell you, you need to be a little bit more humble. So it's happening with the women specifically in America. And I love American women. Like I really do. I think American women are great. But I'm saying the ego that has been allowed to inflate itself. And then what is going to happen is the rest of the world are actually watching and laughing at the women in America that, oh my God, look at these women. They literally, I've seen women in America literally have a vibratory device and make a video about how good it is and how much better of a man it is than her man. And
No
I'm like,
shame. No
The
shame.
average modern woman
No
podcast,
shame.
they all are sponsored by men,
Instagram.
by women's devices.
I'm just like, what? No other woman outside of America would do that.
Can I be honest? As an American woman, I thought like that, and I will own it. And it wasn't for me. And this is what I think is happening in American culture is that we are under this disillusion and we have this ego and we thinking that we're better and we're not going to push our men away. And, oh, I deserve to be married. And for me, I personally had to have this life awakening. And it happened to me around 28, 29. And I literally had to stop dating for a while, a season. I went to therapy. I went to counseling. And I had to change how I thought and I viewed things and what my positioning was and what I needed to do differently. So Lauren wouldn't look at herself at 60 and go, oh, I didn't take accountability, right? Back to our word for the evening. I didn't take accountability and that's why I'm single, right? So I had to do that. And I'm now yielding the results of that. It took some time. It's a garden. I had to cultivate it, had to get some ground in there. And now we're 7 years in and I'm seeing the harvest of that. The men that I attract quality, even though they might not be top tier jobs and things like that, but their character,
But
it sets them apart. And that's what I want is your character, not necessarily your job.
Amen. So did you hear what she said? She said she had to take accountability. She owned up to that. The way you just spoke and talked about how you had to own your stuff, you rarely hear that from women, and especially in the U.S. And I think the reason why the U.S. we have such a big head is because we own entertainment, and entertainment owns culture. So Hollywood, music, all of that, we've spread to the world through that. Our tendrils have reached culture. We're not talking about military and all that, but if we just talk about that, we own movies, television, and music. It's period. And so it has gone out. Like, I remember I would go to another country and our movies would be on with subtitles. And I'm like, or I would meet people from other countries like, oh yeah, I know Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And I'm like you grew up with that? And they're just like, yeah, but they would grow up with the subtitles. And I used to be as American. I'm just like what? Like, that's weird to me. Like, why don't you have your own? But I think it's because in the US, it's all about consumption. It's all about being entertained. Everything is like, even social media. We started all of that. Dating apps. We started all of that because it's just, our culture is just very backwards. And then we wonder what's wrong. I mean, but it gives us a false sense of pride because we think,
everybody wants to be like
everybody
us.
wants to be like us, but we don't realize half the stuff, like, people are looking at us
laughing
like,
at us.
Right.
Except for China, they steal everything.
But they still, like, culturally, it's like we have this pride, which I think you should have pride in where you're from, but it's a false bravado that's actually destructive.
And it's blind pride as well.
It's destructive.
Sarah, who do you think's more afraid of commitment, men or women?
I think for marriage, I think men.
Men.
Yeah.
What do you think, men or women?
I think it's equal, but women are afraid of commitment because they feel like they're going to lose their life, which is a false fear. Men are afraid of commitment because they fear they're going to lose their livelihood, which is a real fear.
Come on. Just bars off the
I
bar.
feel like she's like a sage. I just want Maggie, come move in with me. And just
What do
give me
you think,
wisdom.
men or women?
I think it's 50-50 as well. I agree with you. That women, they don't want to feel like they're missing out, and they don't want to feel. It depends on the culture, because I was speaking to a woman from Nigeria, and she was saying about how her and her ex-husband, before they could get that divorce, it would be loads of family meetings, and now she worries for her children because, well, not necessarily because, she's the head of the family, but if it was to be that they wanted to go into marriage, everyone would kind of be involved, like, especially on the woman's side. So I think it depends on the culture.
Could you guys pick one if you have to pick, men or women?
So the question was, who is afraid more of commitment?
Mm-hmm.
Women.
Women?
Men.
I had a hypothesis when I started this that the older people in the room would say men and the younger people would say women because the younger men don't know. But it didn't really go out like that. So I guess I wasn't right. Okay, I'm going to read super chats really quick, and then I think we're going to close out the show. This was a lot of fun, guys. Thank you all for coming tonight. Okay. Okay, Brighton. Truth is lies and lies is truth. Tomo J. Alpha widows to their toys. Wine, cat food, and vibrators. Invest away, boys. Zentience, $100 super. Zentience, we missed you.
Big baller. Hey, yo.
Zentience, we missed you. We missed you. Come back. The only commitment phobe is the salty gamer who is scared to be ridiculed by the chat as we drink those delicious tears. Melanie, kudos to you for regaining your purpose and retaining from your hiatus. A purpose is a daily commitment to yourself. Cheers, mate. PJ, I'm the high-paid blue-collar man. I'm one. Get a lot of respect, just not from Western women, so there is an incentive to be blue-collar and import. Lazy Prodigy, shout out to the real MTR and Melanie King. Jacob Joseph, watch Birth Gap by Stephen J. Shaw to see how low birth weight rates will bring down the Western civilization and how childlessness hurts everyone, but especially women. Tomo J, how can a man commit when only 10% of men play? Distinguish Chad and Chad lights from 85% of average sub-5 guys. Stop the cope. If women locked them up, the rotation would not be so effing broken. Dumbledore, choosing the wrong woman is life-ending event for a man, and increasingly, 99% of women are choosing to make themselves the wrong kind of women. Burfoot's law is destroying men and kids. Ryan, the eating warrior, it's women. Women are afraid to commit because they always think a better option is around the corner due to Instagram lifestyle. Arbor, born night, why do you think all of women are not held accountable for the essay of men, even young boys? Look up all the cases with teachers and it will blow your mind. Lisa, wives hold modern women accountable. Tomo J, U.S. birth rate 1.64, NZ rate 1.61, UK birth rate 1.56, Australia birth rate 1.58. It's fine, guys. Men will step up. Surely, anyway, any day now, just be a quote unquote nice guy. Zentience again, $100 super chat.
Gee, thank you, boo.
Modern women aren't the commitment phobes, since women are the more social ones. Societal and cultural contingent of the West are more prevalent from them, but men are the beasts of burden who still endure. Smart men aren't marrying, not due to fear, but due to caution. You can still be a nice guy with confidence and not let your woman walk all over you. Recognize the signs and gracefully bow out when someone takes advantage of you. The sweet guy persona never wins. Breton, the chat is when Roman Coliseum in a good way. Lou Casey, I vote for making Maggie a permanent guest. See Dumbledore, as a designer of social platforms, we make it to specifically monetize women's addiction to attention. And yes, Instagram is a gateway drug to OF. Ghost Stallion, fire emoji, Dante Bryant. Real life is the best way to meet. If you're a 6-foot Adonis, ask mere mortals just get crapped. Us mere mortals just get crapped on. CM. To the credit of the girl in the white, she is definitely a 7 or higher. She rates to date above average, and she is mentally sharp as well. Her good logic to her. Don't say she should date average. Aaron Kabat, to me, the reason life is so complex today is that there is a limited number of real truths, and for every truth, there's 1,000 lies to follow. Angel Griggs, stop evading the question. Can you talk about why women don't physically react to a husband's missive, his request, and rebel, and then get the hit and disciplining, making them the person do as they are told? With dating apps, women are clearly at an advantage. Their egos get inflated by them. First signs of trouble, why to fight or fix it when you can open the app and get a new man in 5 minutes. Al Lynn, how about you let the white man speak his mind? I am only 161 centimeters tall, and my girlfriend is a 182 centimeter volleyball player. I'm not even rich. You men need to stop complaining about these kind of 10s girls and look for 10 nice girls. Nova, Melanie, don't mind that. The camera angle is very appealing. MTR, Melanie King are I read this one already. Let me refresh it real quick just to make sure there are no other super chats. Also, guys, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. We are trying to get 2 million subscribers by July. Wow. So, it's an ambitious goal, but you never know. DL Saint, I really want to know, is that Melanie King? Salute to all. I'll catch the reply. I just met Jules. Mari made 9 figures showing women's dark side to a public audience. Mm-hmm. The Savvy Ninja, the erosion of culture and personal convictions and shame has produced Simps in 304. And we in the West suffer from the blessing of affluence. Patrick E., one of the best shows I have seen. All are building off of each other. Everyone is valid. Mrs. Maggie is basing out. I love it. The downfall of America is going to be like the 25 universe experiment. Please react to it in the future. Blow your mind. Send it to me on Instagram, just Pearly Things 1. Truth is lies and lies is truth. Tomo J, Alpha. I read this one already. Mm-hmm. Okay. I also had a quick question. What do you think about people that criticize the red pill space and say just find a nice woman? Don't date those type of girls.
It's naive. I think their head is in the sand. I mean, red pill exists not because people just are delusional. I mean, to say you can criticize it all you want or disagree with it, maybe that's not your lived experience. I mean, that's just my only... people who criticize it, like... you're invalidating other people and saying what they're saying or their lived experience is false because just maybe it's not your reality, or it may be your reality, but you're in denial. So I think, what is there to criticize if, I mean, these are facts.
You're just harping on the negatives of women. You're just
it's
focusing
reality.
on the
like put your head in the sand or live the Disney dream in your mind. Like,
exactly.
okay.
And the Disney dream will leave you single, right? That's the delusional sense that most American West culture women are stuck in, and it's leaving us single. And so I think we are talking and having discussions around the red pill topic because this is the reality that people need to deal with. It's a humbleness that needs to happen, and it's balancing, but it's change, right? People don't like change. It's a different way of thinking that obviously would make us better, but people don't want to engage or entertain those conversations because they want the norm.
You have internalized misogyny.
My simple answer is just to look at the data. Just look at the data, right? Like I used to, back in my corporate life, I was an internal management consultant, and we can't just walk into an office after a couple of months and looking at a particular issue and or problem and just say, that's the problem. No, we have to show data. We'd have to show our work. We'd have to show exactly why our hypothesis is exactly true of what the particular issue is. Just look at the data. If you look at the marriage rate, if you look at the divorce rate, if you just look at the numbers, simply, then you should understand that there's a burning platform for something going wrong. You look at the birth rate.
Mm-hmm.
Just look at the numbers. Just look at the numbers. That's it.
Most people don't want to, though. Most people are about feelings. So I hear what you're saying, but most people are about feelings.
They should just shut up.
Bliss ignorance is more comfortable than conflict in dealing with issues. And I think we have been pacified as people, and we have not been dealt how to properly deal with controversy, because controversy is necessary to change things and to bring about evolution. But because we have been pacified with comfort and not having to deal with it, not wanting to deal with it, we don't. And when people come up and they want to deal with it, it becomes a problem. You are the problem, by the way, when you want to deal with it.
Yeah.
Any thoughts?
No, I can't expand on it much more than this man just did. The evidence is out there. You just need to look for it.
Thoughts on that? No. Okay.
Jon Snow.
So now, guys, you can give your final thoughts for the show. I will read any super chats that are sent before the show ends after they give their final thoughts. So shout out any of your channels. Give your final thoughts. Now is the time. Start here, go around, and then second row.
I absolutely enjoyed my time being here. Thank you to all the panelists for giving me the opportunity to let my thoughts be known. I appreciate you guys. I thought that we build off each other extremely well, even though some of us have extremely different views. So shout out to each and every one of you. I am MTR. If you look up on YouTube, you put in MTR, you're going to be able to find me in all of my content. Mediocre tutorials and reviews. It's a pleasure to be doing content for this amount of time and still be here pumping out content each and every day. Last but not least, Pearl, thank you. It's been dope to watch your rise. It's been dope to watch the way you continue to move throughout this space with degree of elegance outside of different detractors or haters. I know you behind scenes. And behind scenes, you are just as sweet as you are on camera. So shout out to you, Pearl.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I'm just amazed by it. And I think more than anything, I'm just so impressed by Pearl and her mind and what she's created. And it just feels, I just love meeting every single one of you guys, like hearing the opinions and things. And it just is, it's so inspiring. And so I'm just grateful for the experience. Look me up, Melanie King. That's it.
Thank you for having me again, Pearl. We've been doing this for a long time now. Anyone that wants to follow me, you can find me at Sarah Garvey. That's SA space RA Garvey. I want to thank Melanie. I want to thank Maggie. I want to thank MTR. Welcome to my city. I don't know how you feel about it, but yeah, welcome to it. And thank you all for joining, and thank you all for listening.
Yeah, and I will say I watched all three of you guys before I'd even really did YouTube, so it's kind of cool to have like a 360 where I could actually talk to the people I used to watch on YouTube. So you guys all inspired some of the stuff that I made.
Absolutely. I'll start by thanking you, Pearl, for the invitation. So happy to be across the pond. Really impressed with all the work that you're doing and the cooking that you're doing. So I am Maggie, the substitute teacher. I have 3 YouTube channels. I have a cooking channel where I stream every day family meals and healthy meals. Teachable Moments with Maggie is my second channel. I've been on an etiquette and elegance journey, and I share there twice a month what I've learned. And then I also have a third channel called The Wives Club, which was created by the late, great Kevin Samuels, because I didn't have a community of like-minded and marriage-minded women, so I asked his permission to create one, and that's what we do there once a week.
I'd like to say thank you to all of you. It was amazing meeting all of you and hearing your views and your perspectives. You can find me on socials, KAMILLESHANTAY, Camille Shantay on those socials. Thanks.
Wow. I I didn't know I was in the presence of so many greats in this room. So I am just overwhelmed right now. But seriously, no, I have enjoyed this conversation thoroughly, even the different points of views. I'm of the sound mind that different points of views can actually yield perspective. So thank you all for yielding your intelligence, your brains, your perspective. Pearl, thank you for hosting this. I seriously did not know what this was about. A friend shared you, and I just kind of followed along. And so I'm going to follow all of you guys and all of this awesomeness because I didn't know who I was in the room with. So I'm just honored to be here.
That's good.
Lauren A. Morgan, Esquire. That's me on all platforms.
Yeah, no, thank you for the opportunity, Pearl. I come here to learn mainly. I'm quite new to all of this, and I'm definitely going to be driving home with a lot of information it's stored in my head. But I think channels like you are extremely important, and I think more people do need to listen to get the different perspectives in life. I think it's the only way people will grow and move forward. So Chan_Robson on Instagram, and go and check out Something Strange Apparel online.
Okay, thank you guys all for coming. Okay, a couple announcements before we end the show. First, I'm going to read the super chats. Guys, like the video on your way out. That is the most important metric that YouTube uses to push out these streams. So if you want to share these streams, if you think we do a good job here, make sure you like the video. A like is free. I know not everyone can super chat, you know. I watch for free on YouTube all the time, so I don't blame you. But, you know, a like, that's free. Okay. ATA, hi, Pearl. Did you ever review Patrice O'Neal Shark Theory? I don't think so. Follow me. Pearl, did you ever have the auntie makeover with the big wig, makeup, and long lashes? I saw it in one of your videos earlier. No, I've never done that one. Dally, $100 super chat.
Whoa.
Big baller.
Old fart, married 33 years. Much respect for the dialogue you're carrying forward. Illuminating, much love. Russ, great show today. Great panel. Bryant, numbers on easy, or numbers and money, MTR. Follow me. Women will get hurt and are unable to heal because if they avoid accountability of the bad choice, I've seen they'll instead lash out in comfortable groups of other women who refuse to heal as well. Sentience Pearl, please articulate yourself into reading the English language correctly. I bet she says this incorrectly. I might have. I don't know. DL say, is that Melanie King? Salute to all. I'll catch the replay. I am just Jules. And then I read that one already. Let me just refresh it real quick to make sure there are not any others. Guys, a couple announcements before we close out the show. Shaisha Nolan, we need solutions to the problems, not just conversations. Okay, I read them all. Okay, a couple announcements. We have two clips channels, Just Pearly Clips and Pearl Daily. Make sure you go subscribe to both. We are doing our first meetup, so if you want more information on the meetup, what we are going to be doing and where it's at, it is in downtown London. Make sure you sign up to our Google form. It's going to be Sunday at 5:30 in downtown London. So sign up to our Google form to be notified about the event. Also, guys, we have 4 membership tiers. The first, you get to be a part of the chat. The second, Discord and blogs. Third, connect with me on social media. Fourth, a one-on-one call with me once a month. This is for people that want to improve on YouTube. Also, guys, subscribe to Wife School. Melanie is going to be doing a fashion episode with me soon. Also, Maggie taught me how to cook this week. That should come out in the next 2 weeks-ish. Animation channel, Just Pearly Animations. Go follow that. Go follow my 2 talents, guys. We're a network now. So Auntie Jenny and King Riches. Make sure you go subscribe to both. King Riches is almost to 70K. He's been working so hard. So make sure you go subscribe to that. Mm-hmm. Also, guys, we have one official pregame Instagram. None of the other ones are us. Go follow my Instagram, Just Pearly Things 1, and go follow my TikTok, Just Pearly Things.5. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you next time.
Woo!
Yay!
Peace.